a moment of silence. Hello, gamers. What's up, Twitch chat? Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Am I doing it right, guys? Hey, what's up, old farts?
Doing great.
Thanks. Welcome to a high champ, grand champ level masterclass with our resident in-house coach, Mike the Support. If you're watching us on Twitch chat, you can ask questions there. We'll see if we can, we'll have somebody keep an eye on it. Or you're welcome to join the Discord and hop in the channel that we have open at the top of the community channels. With that, I will hand it over to Mike and let him explain the procedure, the process, and his agenda for today.
All right, thanks for kicking it off to me, Skitch. Hello, I'm Mike from the Netherlands, been on the server pretty much since its inception. And yeah, we're going to be going over 3 replays today. And with that, I'll get into like how we discuss the replays. Then we're going to do some training routines. So for everyone that is on PC and can share the screen, feel free to do so, and then I'll drop in and then give some feedback on some of the routines that we'll be doing. We'll do 30 minutes probably for ground routines, and then we'll do the last 30 minutes for aerial. And with the replay reviews, will take anywhere between 30 to 45 minutes, depends on how fast we power through them. But we're also going to try to pick out more general concepts of like let's say the things that the Champ 3 players do well, and also the things that are probably like more broader concepts in terms of where they can improve on. As for the replay reviews, I do want people to interact. So if you do have something to say that is important, feel free to interrupt me to a certain extent. And if you want to just save your question for later, then just use the in-game clock. So like the one that you see at the top, just say, hey, can you please go back to 3:30 in-game time and explain this again? Or why did you say do this instead of this? And that's completely fine. So we'll be doing 3 replays. And normally when I do replay reviews, obviously I'm talking to the person that is involved in the replay, but 2 of our people are MIA, and luckily one of them is still in the chat with us today. So I think we'll go in order from lowest to highest rank. I think that makes the most sense. So I think Dr. Fro would be probably the lowest rank, and Fallen might be the second highest, and then I think Eco is the highest. So with that said, I think we will kick it off.
Hey, real quick before you do, Mike, I forgot to mention that, as Mike said, he's been on the server for a while. He's done a lot of coaching, and so if you are interested in having a one-on-one session with him, make sure you hit him up and follow his Twitch. It's in the description on our Twitch, but it's just @LurkerRL, and he does casting for our European weekly tournaments and other fun things. So make sure you give him a like and a follow as well.
Appreciate it.
And he's also a sexy motherfucker.
That as well.
If y'all didn't know.
Hey. Thanks, cousin.
Yeah, no problem. I got your back.
All right, we're going to be starting off with Dr. Fro's replay. So we're just going to see how this goes. Yeah, so far off the bat, pretty good. Just a little bit slow on the rebound here. And this is also, again, where the consistency and the speed matters a lot more when you start getting towards these higher ranks. So Fro should have been able to identify very fast here that this was going to be an off-target shot. So you see that the guy's coming straight on from directly behind the ball, so the odds of hitting it towards the front post is going to be very low. And so as soon as we see this touch, the most important thing is to push up and cover it, because the faster that we push up for this, the less likely we're going to get challenged. And then you see Fro just takes a little bit too much time, and we got a bit lucky there that it went off target. So far, so good. And then also, this is also really greedy that we're seeing here. So teammate's getting pressured on the corner. So the teammate does look like he gets the corner boost. So that's what we're quite happy with. But what we don't want to do is start pushing up for a pass, because the one thing that we started to lose track of is this guy over in our blind spot. So we can do 2 things. Is we could just rotate behind our teammate, which is a safe play. But we also have a good opportunity to start using the right stick to see where the opponent is going, because my gut instinct tells me that he's going for the mid boost and then he's going to go challenge right now. So if that challenge does come through and we're in this position, there is a chance that it just flies straight into our net off the 50-50. And that's what we want to be covering. So if we do want to do that, then yeah, right stick, we could push up, but I just don't see this being a pass either way because our teammate's rolling the ball. So we're going to see what this guy does. And yeah, you see he does go for the mid boost, and then this is the challenge that we could be expecting. So here Fro's really out of position. Now we're forced to go back. And you see, this is also like one of the small mistakes, by the way, that this is worth pointing out just for the sake of argument, because this adds up across the game multiple times. So we're going to see this come in. So this rotation towards the middle of the net is not 100% necessary, just because you're not forced to go into the net just yet when you can save from outside the net. But then when this hit comes in, we do not want to be taking the opposite direction turn. So this is value that we're missing out on by being slower to the play. And so for all we know, that this is something that you'll have a better read on when you start pushing this way. This could be an open net. It's going to be harder and harder to, or it's going to be easier and easier to tell when you start getting closer and you start getting a feel for the rotations. But yeah, so you see, imagine that our teammate doesn't go for this ball and the guy is in the exact same position right now. Top right, completely open. So this is the value that we miss out on just by making one bad turn. And then this shot comes in. Pretty good shot from the opponent. Very, very good control play coming in from Fro. Just a bit unfortunate, gets dunked on the 50. Nice. And then this open net is fine. So Fro's doing the smart play, which is just covering the far post, just in case the teammate booms it all the way to the wrong side. Yeah, that's just a cookie cutter assisting your teammate on the open net. And that's just generally what you should always be doing, because you can't take it for granted that your teammate will score the open net. All right, so this guy went for the back right. That's also really important to keep up in terms of like the mental tab, because that changes our decision making completely off this awkward rebound. So this is something I don't know. I think it's like 50-50 on how many Champ 3 players do this, but some people will just play like they're getting rushed on the kickoff. And so, yeah, so here he's expecting the shot's coming, and so he's taking a lot of time, and then, yeah, we're fumbling, and then, yeah, this happens. So I think this is just going to be a goal. Oh, Fro thought it was a goal. It was not a goal. So this is bad for multiple reasons. So for starters, is that this entire decision making is completely botched because he didn't play like the opponent went for the corner boost. So this rebound is really safe, and we can play quite greedy on this rebound. And so when we take this time here, it's also completely fine to let this bounce come through, because your positioning has to dictate what you're going to do with the ball. So when you play this far away from the ball where you're not positioning for the clear, then you're probably going to have to take the next bounce. And so if you're going to take the next bounce, you should be using right stick to determine where everyone is on the field to make sure that you don't rush the play unnecessarily. And so even if Fro touched this ball, which he did not do, and then he thought it went inside the net, it's really besides the point, because when you touch that ball, there's going to be two opponents covering it, and that just means that we're passing it to them. They're going to get a free shot on net, and then our teammate is forced to cover up for our mistake. And then the next bad thing is playing like it's in when it's not in. I would say generally that you want to just always play like it's not in until you see the goal explosion. So let's see. Very good slow play, very good flick. Now it's just gauging what the opponent's doing. Gets challenged. This is fine though, because our teammate's behind us. We get the corner boost. So we just played for quite a lot of value there. It's a relatively good play that Fro did. Even though you could always argue, oh yeah, you should have maybe flicked it over the next guy, but it doesn't really matter because you're playing for value. You have a teammate behind you, and this fluffy doggo guy should start running out on boost. And this is completely fine. He's forced to go for our opposite corner. Hitting it off to the side is good, but the one thing that I dislike about this save... What's up?
It's kind of pixely. I don't know if you want to...
All right, we'll try refreshing it.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone else have it clear. I checked the stream, and
it's coming and going when there's a lot of action.
Yeah, there's a little choppy.
But
Yeah.
I've seen it with that like in the past, and I think that's kind of just the way it is, unless you guys have figured out a way around that.
yeah, especially with
Yep.
like
Usually
streaming from
3 minutes 720p.
overseas, it's
usually.
not something we can.
Well,
Well, are you watching it on mics or are you watching it on Twitch?
I'm watching
Because
on
it's on
Discord.
both. Oh, okay.
There's like,
I lowered it to 720p. I don't know if that made a difference.
yeah, I mean it's sort of it's kind of
Yeah, whenever you stop, Mike, it clears up
Yeah.
really nice. But when there's a lot of movement, it's gonna pixelate.
yeah, it's fussy again.
Yeah. Is
Yeah,
it getting
I was watching
pixelated
on
again?
Twitch. I think Twitch is a little bit better.
Is the stream still pixelated, or?
Yeah, and I don't know what'll be better because you are going to be trying to stream it to Discord, and then it's at Rotterdam. So
Yeah, this might be a bit better. Just sometimes restarting the stream tends to help.
yeah, I can also try to set the Discord's ingest into midway between.
So that would be US East.
Yeah. Let me just try that, because then at least Skitch will be able to pull it.
I forgot you know about all that stuff, Olin. That's kind of your bag of tricks.
Everything with technology.
All right.
Technology.
Do I have to restart the stream, you reckon, or is it fine?
Seems to be fine. I think it's
All right.
probably his best. Sorry about that.
All right, cool. If it craps out again, then just give me a shout. So we're back to this position where Dr. Fro is going for a save. And so the two major things that I dislike about the save is, number one, is instantly using your double jump. Whereas for reference for the people that maybe don't know in the chat, you can keep your flip all the way above crossbar height. And so that helps us immensely with giving us a lot of flexibility. And especially for the quality of the touch, it's really important to keep your flip. So you can generate power if needed. In this case, we actually don't need the power, but we can actually do one thing that's really cool, which is a very underutilized defensive tactic, which would be to touch the ball and then flip afterwards when you touch it. Because then you use the flip as a speed boost rather than as a means to hit the ball harder. Because the most important thing that we want to do is keep possession instantly after our teammate got demoed, because we want to take at least one more 50-50 if it comes down to it to make sure that we do not concede this play. And then you see that this touch comes in, and so Fro, by all means, should get beat, which is the case. But our opponent drops the ball a little bit, so Fro instantly turns off the corner boost, which is really smart. Does grab the mid boost as well. And yeah, nice low 50-50. Very good play. I think there was a call for the fake kickoff, yeah. So the teammate hit it off very far to the side, which is obviously not great, but we can still play from this position. And teammate goes up for it again. So you see, this is really good, what Fro is doing. He's just recognizing the fact that his teammate's being a bit of a monkey, and he's just going to let his teammate be a monkey. So, one of the things I think that happens around the Champ 2, Champ 3 rank is that people get very married to the idea of what they wanted to do to begin with. So when they see something that's happening that could jeopardize the play, they still stick to the idea that they had the best play to begin with, so they double commit on the fact that they had this play going. So even though the teammate already did a good job to begin with, and it was a good idea for Fro to push up, the fact that his teammate's committing super hard was a good read that he should fall back for defense. And this turn on the demo read, that was really good. So that play for me gets an 8 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10. That's also one of the things that people don't know a lot about the double demo play. So where one person controls the ball, the other person tries to demo, is challenging fast is actually one of the best plays that you can do. Because a lot of people expect you to fall back as far as possible, but in a lot of cases, if you see an opening that you can outplay, it's the right way to do it.
I'm waiting to see when someone starts throwing.
Yeah,
no,
so far...
This game, so
Yeah, so far 3-0 up, so we can actually just play a lot safer. So a similar mistake that we saw before is Fro sees that his teammate has a free ball, but again, we have incomplete information on what the second man is doing, because for all we know, the second man could just be pushing us up right now. So this would be a good place to start using ball cam, car cam really quickly, just to make sure you see what's happening in front of you. And when your teammate's controlling the ball, the odds significantly drop that they're going to pass. Like most people in this rank, and also not even in my rank, it's like GC2, GC3, they're not going to flick this ball to pass it to you. So just get behind your teammate, make sure that you cover the 50-50 dunk. Because the one thing that your teammate can do that's actually really good from this position is he can take a low 50-50 to get one guy to commit, and then you have a 2v1. So this guy's really far back, the second man, but we don't know that because we're looking at it from Fro's POV. And so this dunk comes in, and that could have gone straight in net. Good push from the corner. So far, so good. Good control play. Good flick straight in. Yeah, nice.
So the flick passing play, is that like something you would look forward to? Or is that like...
No, just drop it from your entire playbook. It's just something that you should not play for in a solo queue game, because we're going to press... Oh, wait, no, he is playing duo queue with someone, but I don't know who this guy is. This might be someone from the server, or it might be one of his friends, but again, yeah, flick passes, though, they're just really risky to go for. I think, most people cannot flick above crossbar height, so it doesn't really make sense to position for a pass, because like the passes that you'd want to look for in flicks are the ones that go really high. And flicking at that high is incredibly difficult, so you might as well just not play for it.
Gotcha.
Okay, so far good rotation. Leaving the corner boost there is really smart, because even if the opponent does take it right now, that means that we're in the 2v1, so it doesn't really matter that the corner boost is up.
I'm 99.6% sure that is a Smurf with someone's Smurf on the server.
All right, just gonna see this.
99.6.
What are you talking about, Fawn?
Yep.
We don't have Smurfs on the server. So
Yeah, what do you mean?
thanks.
I mean, I don't know who it is.
That's a bannable offense.
I don't know who it is, but it looks like a Smurf. Might not be.
Never smirked in my life.
Fair.
I don't even know what smurfing is.
All right. This is actually a really good moment for the pop quiz, because I like doing random pop quizzes every now and then, so I'm just going to pull some random answers here. What do we think that Dr. Fro's biggest mistake here was on this challenge?
Not going back post.
Not going back post. So you mean the opposite post?
Yeah, he goes front post.
He turned left early instead of like going back post, heading towards the corner.
Yeah, he turned like super early.
So we're looking at this again. So he was forcing the guy off the ball, so his teammate got a free touch. So back post is not an option. But are there any other suggestions that people can come up with?
Not going back ball.
What'd you say, Crispy?
Should have left the boost for his teammate for one, in my opinion.
Not necessarily, because his teammate came off the other corner.
I'm an idiot, so I would have gone back ball.
Maybe
Not that far.
I'm an idiot.
Covered that.
I heard someone say maybe.
I don't know. Maybe he could have taken possession and carried it across, over.
You mean keep going with the play?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can take a look. So there's a guy behind him. No, he's bumping him off. So so that's not an option. So his teammate already committed to the play. So we've established that that's not an option. It's his teammate's ball. But there's one simple thing that people have not come up with. I did get one DM from our residential mute. Do a squishy shot, boom. Okay, that is completely wrong.
What about slowing down at that front post and guarding out?
Turned forward.
That's the exact answer. This is where people who watch a lot of content creators, they make this pitfall, because defense is a very dynamic process. You have to look at where you are on the field and what your opponent is doing, and then make a decision from there. And so generally the best habit to have is to position yourself where you can always cover your net. And so I don't know who said cover the front post, but that was the correct answer, because we're in a position where teammates getting challenged, and we have to position ourselves where we have to cover the entire net, where we're not doing this entire ritual of rotate back post, turn around 180 degrees, cover the shot, because that's just a ritual that takes too long. So we have to work with what we have, and that would be just covering the near post. So you see that one of the main reasons why this becomes a goal is because we're just doing this entire shuffle that I was talking about. So we're going to bump this guy off. We're going to get the boost. Teammate controls the ball. So now we're going to the middle of the net. Now we have to do a 270-degree turn. Then we have to face the play. Then we have to double jump. So there's all these unnecessary inputs that we're doing just because we didn't look at where we were on the field and see what we could do from this position. And you see, like, our opponent there, what did he do? He just pressed right trigger. He pressed boost and he pressed double jump and he got a free goal.
Can you go?
Whereas
Can you go back to that and draw where he should have gone? Like from right here.
Yes.
So, yeah.
All right. So here we are. We probably want to go further back wall just because this covers us for a back wall challenge. So let's say because our teammate dropped the ball pretty hard here. So the opponent has a small avenue to start rolling it up the wall to maybe go for a center. So we want to play tight on the back wall because it does two things. One is that it allows us to go to the backboard if the opponent starts to control it up the backboard, because the opponent will have to go backboard, they'll have to chip it off the wall, then they pass it in. So that's again like this little ritual that the opponent has to do to get a good center, and that gives us time to react and also time to cover it. But then the other thing that is a little bit underrated is that the tighter that you play towards the back wall, the more vision you get of the play. So again, when we look at how Fro is moving here, the one thing that we cannot see the entire time because of where the ball is in relation to our car is the second man. So we can never see that the pass could ever possibly come because we're never positioned to give us maximum visual awareness. And so we're going to see that when he starts moving, so like here, we're just going to look at this from this guy's POV. So you see, he just sees this. Oh, he just double jumps. It's a free goal. So like for him, it looks very standard cookie cutter, but for Fro, we have absolutely no clue what's going on. We have no clue where the second man is. We have no clue how to position. And so you see when this touch comes in, all of a sudden this guy just appears on our screen randomly, and this is where we go panic mode. And so like this is something that I can't really just cover inside the entire session, but good movement with ball cam on means you get more vision on the field.
And
That's
then
a good
other
shot.
teams should say what a save just so they can kill them, right?
The correct answer is disable all chat when you're playing 2v2, especially if you're playing during the daytime hours where all the kids come out of school. Yeah, is there anything that we could have done here? So we're just going to look at this again. So teammate goes for boost on the kickoff. This is not half bad, but yeah, this is just it's 50-50.
Jump pre-flip.
No, I think it's kind of 50-50 because I don't know exactly what the teammate did, but yeah, I mean we're talking about duo queue here, so I guess we have to give Fro a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. Because the one thing that you should know as the guy on Fro's team is that it went to the opposing half, so it's probably better for the. Oh, that's just a shot and a half. All right, that might be check 1 on the Smurf vibe, by the way. Oh, this kickoff is going to look pretty bad. It's not the end of the world. So we get pads here. Nothing too big of a deal.
We didn't get any pads.
Every time this happens, by the way, I die inside. We should be going to net here. Because the basic flow chart for this position, by the way, is if our teammate can get the boost and control the ball to waste time for us, that is the cue that we're looking for to get the corner boost. But as soon as this rebound comes in and our teammate is in this position, probably most people in this chat are aware that your camera is completely scuffed right now. So Elon Muskdog has absolutely no idea what is going on. So he doesn't know if he's going to get rushed. He doesn't know where the opponent's going to come from for the shot. And, you know, if you're playing like GC3+, like this is actually not a bad position to be in because most people can deal with these awkward camera angles. But I can assure you that in Champ 3 that a lot of people will quite literally drop the ball here. So pads should be the first move because our teammate's awkward. Then we go for the corner boost if we get a confirmation that it's safe. So we did drop one step, and then, yeah, this happens. So this is okay. Nice bump as well. Yep. Should push up here. A little bit of an inefficiency where I would prefer to flip right now, personally, but it's like a small inefficiency. Pass. That was ugly. All right, recovery is looking a little bit rough. Yeah, this is also, again, one really small optimization would recommend that people adopt this in their gameplay, is boost before you flip. Because the flip is like a kind of multiplier for how fast you can go. So you don't want to just do throttle and flip. You'd rather do throttle, boost, and then flip, because that just buys you so much more time. So you see that we're actually lagging now. So we went from a position where we could have had the lead on the guy dribbling the ball right now if we boosted and flipped. And because we flipped and now we have to boost later, you see that this guy's now leading on the play. So when he starts leading and he's constantly rolling the ball with boost, we're never going to be able to catch up for the challenge anymore. So that's where, again, these small optimizations on like the boosting versus flipping, this adds up. And you see right now that this opponent is still leading on us, so we can't actually get in for any kind of rush challenge where we make it easier for our teammate.
Would a well-executed speed flip make up any of that room?
Yes, absolutely. So one of the main reasons why speed flip is such a utilized mechanic at the highest level, or even just in GC, to be honest, it's because you can boost while you're flipping. So for anyone that has tried it before, when you front flip and you're boosting, your car just goes all over the place. And generally you're locked out of certain boost timings. Whereas with speed flip, because your boost is always pointing behind your car, you can full boost throughout the entire speed flip. So with speed flips, my point is a moot point where it doesn't really matter when you're boosting. Again, I would probably say that optimally speaking, boosting a little bit before you start the flip is a bit better, just for efficiency's sake. But if you're front flipping for most of your mobility options, then boosting before you flip is absolutely crucial. I'm not going for this. Clip the post, classic. All right, so now we can start pushing up because we established that it's a free ball. So this is also, again, that if you're moving around like this, it's really important to learn how to autopilot your movement for defense while also looking at what's going on the field. So when we see that the fluffy doggo guy all the way in the back is going for corner boost, this should be our cue to start pushing up now. So we want to boost, flip, grab some pads, and that will be our way to take advantage of the pressure. So we're actually getting beat to this ball, which we probably should not be getting beat to. Oh boy. So we could actually do just a little pop quiz here as well. So even considering the fact that our teammate is 27 boost, what was the guaranteed save path that we had to make sure that we never concede this?
I would just say touch the corner.
Is this
Yeah, so
first
left
killer at Worlds at
Left corner.
Yeah, just put it left corner. So this is something that again I see because I've coached quite a lot of people. So like people in this rank are really good at tracking the ball. So we obviously know that Fro's creating two lines in his head where he knows exactly where the balls are going to intersect. But that's not good enough when you're getting towards the GC ranks because you have to do something with that information. So we have to figure out with this movement, where's the ball going to land? So it's going to roughly, let's say, land here on our screen. What we should be doing then is now starting to make different movement to make sure that we still get to that intersection point, but we put it in a position that buys us a lot of time. Because if we hit this into the back left corner, our teammates should make it back to net in time. And preferably what we want to do is dribble it. So we take the 50-50 on the backboard, and then we just drive it across our backboard to the corner. But, you know, just hitting it into the corner for the sake of where we are right now, that's also good enough. Because we're going for an outplay option with 27 boost. So playing it through the opponent, while I would recommend against it in most situations, it's fine when you have a lot of boost. But when you're 27, you should be looking for the guaranteed free touch in almost every single case. So we can say that so far, Fro is probably, out of the 3 goals that we've seen so far, he's probably responsible for 2 of them. Takes a slow kickoff. Okay, that's going to be maybe number 3, I mean. Yeah, so... Okay, but we can talk a little bit about the fake kickoff. So I don't even know what this is, whether it is or isn't a fake kickoff, so it looks like they get delayed. Just taking the 50-50 is always the better play. It's one of these moments that you just have to accept that you're beat. So there's no universe really where you get the control of the ball, you get the position on your card to flick it, and then you actually flick it. So just driving into the ball, take the 50-50 by delaying your second jump should be the good way to go around it. So that's in, not quite. This is pretty decent movement, I like it. Oh, he's getting rush challenged, that's straight in. Does he make it back? Okay, nice, good 50-50. Oh boy, if this goes top right, we know whose fault it is. Okay. Yeah, so this is one thing I was really scared about is, so again, when we highlighted this a little bit for probably was the first goal where the opponent started making the comeback, where Fro has so much boost, by the way. And boost is not just something that you use for aerials, boost is also like a mobility option for just repositioning on the field. So if we're we're pigeonholing ourselves to cover the net because that's just probably the smart play right now. I don't really see a way where Fro gets the challenge in when his teammate's that close to the ball. So if we just literally boosted 15 boost off to the right, put ourselves in that position again where we can cover our entire net, then we don't get this incident where Fro might clip the back post. And so you see he's keeping it really tight, but now you see top right, no way he's saving this. So this is again where good movement plus using your boost properly is really important to make sure that you're covering your net constantly. And that demo comes in. What does our teammate do? Ooh. Just a tip as well for a lot of demo situations. There's one thing that I think that is really it's really misunderstood in Rocket League, that you don't want to. You do 2 things that you don't want to do when you respawn. Is don't instantly grab the boost. That's just generally a bad habit to have unless you have a complete read on the game state. So if you know that your teammate, let's say, cleared the ball all the way to the enemy half right before you died, then by all means, just grab the boost and respawn because there's probably not a chance that it's going to fly straight to your net. But in this case, we have to think about this from our opponent's, sorry, not our opponent, but our teammate's POV. So for anyone that has been in a 1v2, probably, I hope that most people do this, but you have to play like your teammate's going to get the bad spawn. That's really important to understand, because if our teammate plays like we're going to get the bad spawn, he's probably going to go for this boost. And then he's also going to go for this challenge. So see, our teammate gets completely thrown off here, and that's understandably so because Fro made it really awkward. This shot comes in. We did not save the near post, so this is ghost goal. As Flakes likes to call them, he calls them ghost goals. That should have been a goal as well. Because, again, was quite greedy that we don't go for the save here. All right, no reset. A little bit rough on the 50, but it's fine. Should be full boosting, by the way. So again, like a small little tidbit of information for people that don't know is supersonic is a range of speed. So if my memory serves me, it's like 90% of top speed to just initiate supersonic, which is the trail. Then there is still another 10% threshold that you can achieve, which is max speed. And then to drop out of supersonic, I think it's like 80% or 85%. So there is a little bit of wiggle room before you drop out of supersonic again. So when you're going for this mid boost and there's someone on your trail, just keep full boosting, because that is a way you guaranteed that you don't get demoed. Because again, Fro is not going top speed anymore, and he's pretty far from top speed as well. And you see, that's why he almost gets demoed here. And now he's denying the boost, which, when you're 2 goals up, I don't know if that's the right play. I think this is more of a play you do when you're 1 goal down in the last 30 seconds, maybe. But I don't know if this is really necessary. Oh my, that's a really greedy challenge. So, yeah, that's a goal. Fair enough. So the thing that I want to highlight about this challenge, why it's really, really bad, is 2 reasons. One is that we are so far away from our opponent that they actually just know where we are. So our opponent has so much time and space to do whatever they want that there's no reason to cover this. Number 2 is that, again, our teammate is behind us. So our responsibility as last man from this position is to waste time. So a fake challenge has infinitesimal value here compared to an actual challenge. So we don't have to actually pressure ourselves to go for the challenge, because if this opponent flicks it, we can just boom it to our back corner, and then we can work from there and see what our next play is. And so this should just be a goal right now. Yeah, it is a goal. Yeah, so you can just see that things that don't look like they're really terrible are actually just really terrible. So like, oh, I messed up a challenge, but that challenge actually just led to the opponent getting a free 1v1. Whereas if you had decided not to challenge, you have a 2v1. And that is, again, what we have to be doing, because we're 2 goals up from this position. And so it's just a good rule of thumb to know that if you are 2 goals up, you can leverage more fake challenges to win the game than the other way around. You're not actually in a position where you have to real challenge. The people that have to real challenge are the people that are down in goals, which is why it's so easy to fake them. All right, it's rough. It's okay. Goes for the bump there. It's fair enough. Should be goal. Okay, we don't talk about that. I did not see anything. And again, okay, so he did this twice now. So this is a bad habit. Just because you think it's going in doesn't mean it's going in. Always play like it's in until you see the goal explosion. Because we're just wasting time. And this is going to be on target. Yeah. And so I think this is actually probably the best place where we can actually highlight what I was talking about. So for a few times, I mentioned that Fro should not be positioning for a pass when they're in situations where his teammate's just controlling the ball. But there's also 2 things, is that for those of you that probably play 2v2, which is most people I think in this channel, passes have higher value in 2v1s. But in 2v2s, they do not have very high value because it doesn't really change anything. So playing for a pass here doesn't make sense, because if our opponent is covering the outplay, then the second man will cover the pass or the outplay itself. So then at the very least, Fro will be in a 50-50 if he gets a pass here. So again, it's just something that doesn't really make sense. And then the other thing is, as well, with the positioning, we are not getting information on the game state. So we have absolutely no clue what's going on now for the next 2 seconds. And so then this challenge comes in, and it's like, well, where did he come from? And it's like, okay, yeah, you should have used your car cam or your right stick. So yeah, we have a very unnecessary throw coming in so far. I think we are, well, so it was 4-1, I think, in terms of goals, but we're playing like we're behind. That's the thing that is really, I shouldn't probably say bothering me, but a lot of, I would say, the decision-making that Fro is doing is decent decision-making if you're behind, where you're playing for a lot of value, because the pass is high value when you're behind and you're trying to force a goal. But when you're ahead in goals, you should be covering for 50s more. All right, good 50-50. Really greedy, but we'll see what happens. Okay, could go for the bump here now. That's a bit late, but we could go for the bump. Okay, missed it. This is a way better position for a pass. Now we see that we have 2 people on the left side of the field, so now this pass actually has value. We're going to see if it gets rewarded. Should get rewarded. Boom. All of a sudden, we see 2 people on the field, and the pass is way higher value. So we get to see the duality of the pass, which is very nice. Any questions before we go to the next replay?
What would your like top? Because first I was seeing on here, like, what would your top takeaways and things to improve? Would you say? Or did you say like
Uh,
don't like let your like because you mentioned a couple things like positioning for passes, like turning up field for passes that aren't going to happen like a couple times. Like I guess
yeah.
what's your
So, three things I would say there's probably a lot more. I would say the major takeaways is work with what you have for defense. Defense is not a static positioning based game where you have to constantly go for like the middle of the net or the back post. You have to look at what's happening okay, so when is this 50-50 coming in? Does the opponent have a free touch when my opponent is in a bad position? Or sorry, my teammate's in a bad position. Based on where you are, there are generally a lot of places where you can still cover your entire net. So in the case of Fro, most of the issues that he was having on defense was not defending from the near post. And he was pigeonholing himself to go back to net because net in his brain is the safe place to go. Number two is positioning aggressively for passes when you don't have complete information. So if you use your right stick and you flick your car cam multiple times, then you have more information on the game state, then the pass becomes safer. But as soon as you're playing constantly with ball cam on and you're trying to force the pass and you don't see what's happening, well then all of a sudden this guy that flies out at your teammate wins the 50-50 and it literally just goes straight in your net, as we saw in one of the goals. And then I think for optimizations, probably like boost usage and flipping. I think we saw that Fro lost a lot of time in terms of like not boosting and then flipping in a few situations, and also nearly getting caught on a demo that should never ever get close to happening. With that said, I think generally though where Fro was quite strong was probably the counterattacks on the ground play. So that's definitely something that he has going for him.
ground play monster for sure?
Yeah.
Hey, quick shout out to Twitch to Bigger G. I assume that's Big Green throwing out the subs
is Big
for the
Green.
community. So thanks for that as always. And we have a lot of new people in
Big
the
Green.
voice chat. Now, Mike, if you want to kind of reset before you start the next replay, just kind of give a quick overview of what we're doing here.
Reset. Oh, you mean for the Twitch chat?
And the people in the Discord chat, there's like 25, a lot of new names.
Oh, okay.
So just if you want to reintroduce yourself and just a quick 30-second what we're doing here.
So I'm Mike, residential coach. For the new people that are joining, we're doing currently some replay reviews, but then we're also going to be going over some mechanics drills or training drills, however you like to look at them. And some of the lovely people that are joining us in the voice channel right now will be able to participate, where I will give them feedback on some of the routines that I'll be showing in order to help them improve. And so also we're doing question rounds for some of the new people that join. So if you have like a timestamp on the in-game clock timer, feel free to shout it out and ask me to re-explain or elaborate on why I said I think this is the better play versus what maybe you thought was the best play.
And we're looking at C3, Champ 2 to GC1, right? Replays here.
Yes. And so I'll say going once, going twice, if we don't have anyone that wants to say their speak. All right.
Quick word about the stream. I posted it in the voice chat, so if you can check that out if you want to. If not, don't worry about it. I actually asked ChatGPT about like the Discord streams, and it gave a pretty good answer.
Is it moral of the story is you should get Nitro? Or
No, it's lower your in-game FPS so it doesn't try to buffer.
Really?
Match, yeah. So lower your in-game FPS to 30, I guess, or 6.
Or whatever you're streaming at, yeah. Sorry, that's it. Didn't mean to interrupt, guys.
Oh no, that's good.
Okay.
All right, I'm curious if this works.
Be kind of funny.
But would I have to enable VSync then as well?
No,
Good.
All right. I'm curious.
no, that's only for your monitor. So.
Yeah, I'll probably have to up it again when I start doing the training drills. 30 FPS. This is going to look like a completely different game, guys. So we got Froze down. We're looking for Eco's replay. I think Eco's was quite old. I did also name it. Yeah, so Eco's is down here. I think Eco, he was Champ 3 when the replay started, but he also played this game very early in the season. So Champ 3 early in the season is probably closer to GC. So I think we will go over Enfallen's game. Enfallen, for those that don't know, residential moaner.
Yep.
Oh, here we are. Okay, nice.
That me.
All right. Kickoff not half bad. I think there's a few things that we can address about the kickoff. Is your jump and flip timing is probably a bit too late, which is why you're getting so close to the ball on the kickoff. And if you're doing left speed flips, right?
I can do both. I can do both. Yeah, normally I do it a little earlier. So.
Yeah. So if you're left speed flipping, you should probably turn a little bit more to the right for this kickoff.
Yeah,
It's not
it's just like one of the worst kickoffs I've had in like a couple of years.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough read. Yeah. No, decent. I would say very good attempt for considering where you were. I would say obviously the read should be better in the sense that you position more wide for being able to get on net, but I think the touch that you got from your position was really good. Good coverage. And you see, this is the movement that I was talking about. So if we look at where Fallen is on the map right now, because we have visual markers, Fallen is now covering his entire net. So when this shot does inevitably come through, Fallen is covering the entire net, because this is where the near post starts with these little jagged dots on the field. So we're going to see if it actually matters, but yeah, now you see he just pushes up. But again, if that shot could have come through, Fallen was 100% covering the entire net there. First touch is pretty decent. It's going to be tough, though. Good luck. 50-50 is good. It's going to pop out a little bit. Yep. All right, we could recover for the mid boost. So for those of you that are wondering, because I mentioned right stick a lot, but I dare say that most people do not use it, if at all.
Yeah.
Where is a good place to start learning how to use right stick? And my answer is on recoveries. That's where I started integrating it in my gameplay. So because most of us here are greedy people, we love our big boost. So start using your right stick to look for big boosts on the field. It's a very good greedy way to learn how to use right stick. And then at some point when you start finding these downtimes where it's like a very low mechanical state in the gameplay, that's when you can start using it more to, let's say, look for people on the map. And so in this case, our teammate got the shot, but I dare say that the mid boost behind Fallen was up. So we're going to check if I'm right. All right. Well, we'll just pretend that didn't happen. But you never know, right? It could be respawning as well.
I should at least check.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There we go. So all in all, pretty decent start to the game. Blair, there we go. Is it actually better, by the way, with me running the game at 30 FPS?
I was gonna say I think it's worse. I mean, it's even pixely when you're stopped. Usually it clears out a little bit.
All right, I'll try 60 because it's a happy medium.
I like 59, but yeah, that works too.
I mean, okay, at least this looks nice, to be fair. And so again, the touch obviously not very good that we're seeing from Fallen, but again, this is a good thing to highlight because it's something that we did not see in the Fro replay, where we're covering almost our entire net right now. So if Fallen does a 45-degree right turn, he'll be able to cover his top right, and if he goes straight or slightly turns left, he covers the middle net, but also covers the top left.
And I did try to hit it to corner and just fuck it. Oh.
Yeah.
Mechanics issue.
Yeah, we will probably just say that it's a mechanical issue there, but the way you were covering the net there was still really good. And that's just, again, I think it's always worth highlighting when something is done really well. And this is maybe just one thing that's worth pointing out. So it's very, very small. But when we see this little air dribble come through, so you see how slow the takeoff is?
Yeah.
And if we see what he's doing right now, if he goes for the flip reset, do you think that he can score it right now?
No.
If he
or anything.
Yeah. So that's number one. If he gets the reset, sure, he could rip it towards your net, but it's not going to be a very fast one.
The only thing I would say he could score on, because it happens to me when I play against Egg or Caden, would be getting the flip reset and then the most absurd wave dash shot of all time.
Yeah, but that's something that we can plan for, though.
Yeah, but I don't think I also have no faith of him doing that. So.
Yeah, but the thing with the air dribble is that the air dribble is technically a live threat because this guy should have enough boost to start getting it towards our net. But the thing is, again, that the air dribble is relatively slow. The takeoff was slow. The first touch also slows him down a little bit. So if the setup is faster, then it warrants pushing more towards your net. But if it's this slow, you can actually play really tight and then start pushing away again when you feel like there's a reset coming in. Because you see, we're just a little bit far away, and that's a ball we could have actually gone for. I mean, your teammate did not get the best of touch. Oh, boy. Yeah. So our teammate did not get the best of touch, but that's actually something that we could have just beat right now. So
yeah, I was sort of like doing these little like in and out cuts, like waiting to see if he was gonna drop back because he was under the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And like if I'm under the ball, leave more.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, with this situation, it could have actually been remedied by anticipating your teammate to touch. Because if you anticipate that your teammate's going to touch it, then you also know that it's very hard for your teammate to get the second touch. So it's actually an easier cue for you to take over the ball. Because I would say if this was, let's say, GC2, GC3 plus, I probably would say most of the time your teammate takes over from you because they see that you're stationary when you flip into the ball, and then they know, oh yeah, this guy, there's no way he recovers for this ball. And then here, this was a really greedy challenge. So pushing up for this, by the way, is not bad, but committing is actually where it's really bad.
Yeah. Yep.
Because if we look at it, I always tell people as well when I'm coaching them that the thing that people do that is a bad mistake, in my opinion, is that they make the decision to challenge from way too far away. And so you can actually just fix that by adding one extra step in the operation. So if you say to yourself, instead of I'm looking for a challenge, is I'm going to get close to the play. Then you don't pigeonhole your brain into saying, oh, I'm gonna rush this guy down, I'm gonna win the 50. Because you when you make that decision later in your head, it becomes more obvious based on the visual cues whether or not you can actually beat the player, but also get a good 50.
Yeah.
All right, this is a good kickoff for the opponent. Our teammate gets mid boost, so this is actually fine. We're just in a bit of a technical position. All right, take our time here. I'm a little bit curious what you're doing. So I don't dislike the idea for the air dribble, but I think you could have planned for this. So when you get this touch here, what you should actually be doing is flipping into the ball to generate more power. Because like this touch that you're doing right now, specifically, it's not that it's too slow. It's too slow from where you are.
Yeah.
So if you're right next to the wall when you get this touch, it's actually a really good touch. But when you're this far away from the wall, it becomes a bad touch when you don't add a little bit of extra power into it. And then this guy pre-jumps because, hey, we're C3. We've seen Arsenal do it on Twitch in front of 1,000 viewers, so that's why we do it.
And then scuffed air dribble equals 50-50.
Yeah, that's a good 50 because you get a good recovery. Ooh. I don't dislike this again. I think the timing is off though. We also want to get some additional value by baiting.
Yeah.
Because if we think about if we look at this again as like a decision tree from our opponent, what are the two major decisions that our opponent can do right now?
They can steal that boost.
Yep.
And then demo my teammate.
No, we're talking about the guy in front of us. What are his two major decisions that he can do?
That's the L.
Yeah, the guy with the L.
Take the boost, or just leave and go because he knows that I'm touching it off that wall.
I mean, he could just go again, right? But the thing is, he's not going to go again because of how early you went. But if you fake weakness because you're just jumping later, if we get this guy to jump again, then we get a clear and we get the corner boost.
Yeah.
But if we get the corner boost, then because we're delaying our touch, it's easier for us to generate more power, recover with the ball, and get the 1v1. Because you're going this early, you force yourself into a very specific type of touch. And so if you take more time on it by moving around first, then baiting your opponent to go for the challenge, that's where you get more value out of this play.
Makes sense.
Because again, we're looking at our target demographic in C3. Target demographic is 15-year-old that eats Doritos and washes it down with Monster. So if we just sit there like a rag doll, our opponent will probably go again for no reason. But we don't see that because we go early. Because our opponent sees us go early, they instinctively go for the corner boost.
Yep.
I mean, this is actually completely fine that you get demoed here. You get plus 30 in a better position. 50 boost, nice. Very, very risky, by the way. So we saw this in the Fro replay as well, that we see this guy challenging. We actually don't want to be here. We want to be...
Yeah, I want to be back.
We want to be in probably this position because this covers our entire net, because it covers the direct 50, which might go, let's say, roughly.
I still would have had plenty of time to just use like 6 boosts to get to where I ended up being to make the shot anyway.
Yeah.
Because I'm not boosting right now. I'm just going slow as hell.
Yeah. Good placement behind the opponent. placement. Nice try. I'm thinking that as well, that for one small optimization on this shot, I think jumping later would be better because
That's what I was going to say too. Yes.
because
Really.
the reason why is because it's easier for us to control the height on the shot the later that we jump.
Yeah.
We don't want to jump too late though, because then we're just going to double tap it. But if we jump a bit closer to the midline, then hitting this part of the ball is going to be a lot easier. So this part of the ball will be roughly then here when it comes down, and then making sure that we get the bar down is going to be way easier. It's still a decent shot, but the thing that is that happens as well when you go that early.
It was good, but they know what I'm doing too. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So because for all the opponent knows, you could start trying. The later you jump, they might think that you go for a ground shot. You might go for a control on the ball. You want to mask a shot as long as possible when you shoot from far away. Very good challenge from your teammate. That's a hard read. Yeah, good placement. Nice. So I'd say all in all, just pretty solid replay so far.
Now I start throwing.
All right, I'll have to see it to believe it.
We'll see.
All right, we did cardinal sin number 1. We didn't boost and then flip.
Yep.
So this becomes a lot more awkward. Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I think you mean with throwing.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the reasons why the boost flip is really important right now is because it buys time, because there's so many different things that can happen right now, and time is money in Rocket League, or time is essentially the most important resource in the game. So the faster that we get to this position, the more options that we have to do with the ball. And if you get to that backward post really fast, you also can get a better clear. Because you see that this clear is now really difficult because you're way too far away from the net.
Yeah.
And then a bit of a panic touch. Your teammate takes over nicely, gets a dunk. That was a very risky dunk. Touch is pretty decent. Recovery is almost perfect. Boost management, though, is something we can talk about here. It's a little bit off. So I would say the major thing with the recovery that we can talk about with this is that the boost usage is a bit too aggressive, because we're boosting first and only to get to the ground. We're not boosting to accelerate. So what we'd want to do more on this recovery is to power slide on the recovery, because we have slight downwards momentum, and that will carry over when we drive off the wall. Yeah. And then we want to start boosting, preferably when we get further down the ramp, because it's just a bit more efficient.
Or would you say also, instead of boosting as much down, boosting out and then being on the wall to be able to wave dash coming off of it?
Alternatively, yes, alternatively, but that's next level. I think for where we are, it's completely fine to just boost down the wall and not get the wall dash or the wave jump.
Gotcha.
And then here, when you get the supersonic off the speed flip, you can boost a little bit to get top speed, and then you want to be preserving this. So this is where you actually start feathering your boost right now. So you can like use 10 boost to keep your top speed in like a certain increment of time. Then you can speed flip, and then you can use your last 10 boost to secure the mid boost. And then what happened here is that because then Fallen front flipped too early, clips the ground, and he actually lost a lot of speed. So we'd actually be in a way better position to challenge this if we did some slightly better optimizations on the initial recovery, but also the map movement.
Yep.
Okay, just see what he does. Yeah, see what he does. So initially, this is a good play because we do want to pressure our opponent. And then, yeah, exactly. And then we just slam the brakes because this is such a good play for us. So I think this is something that definitely people, especially people who play ones, is you can try baiting backflip flicks or like backflip challenges. Like you can just slam the brakes and just watch them give you a free ball.
Yeah.
I feel like because we're 3 goals up as well, there's no onus on us to try to get something going. We're trying to bait our opponents in a bit more, because they're in a position where they have to get 3 goals somehow, and then they're going to go for more risky plays, which means that if we get 1 more goal, we win the game. All right, just get closer. Very good. So again, this is the type of challenge that you want to be doing more often, which is drive at the opponent, see what they're going to do. I have a bad feeling about this, but I'm going to see what's going to happen now. Okay, nice. You just drove away. It looked like you wanted to pinch off your teammate.
No, I wanted to leave.
It's going to be a tough one. All right, just recover, get the corner. This is okay. A bit unfortunate you missed the corner boost there, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, at least I didn't go back for it.
Yeah. Just drive up here. You could call your teammate off, but it's fine if you let your teammate go again. So that's a bit unfortunate. So this is, I'm pretty sure you guys are duo queuing. Yeah. So it would be, if we're talking about duo queue, it would be your responsibility to call off your teammate as early as possible.
Yeah. And then I just forgot how to aerial for a bit.
And recover.
Yeah, my hands just,
They were a bit clammy.
I may have been enjoying my night this night. It's option.
Ooh. Very, very good touch, by the way. Like, that was such a difficult post bounce to read, so it was nice that you got that touch. Oh, yeah.
And then I messed up the air roll shot, which, training pack.
Yeah, I think the thing that I find interesting is just how you position yourself really well for it, and I think the technical error that you make is you instinctively turn towards the ball rather than maintaining this line. So for this aerial shot, this is perfect. I mean, you could go even slightly more left if you want to, but then what we see is
for some reason.
Yeah, exactly. You do a micro adjustment. So it might have been because you were doing the jump and flip adjustments midair. That might have been the issue.
I'm gonna let you know a secret. It's 100% because it was an open net.
Ah, you panic very hard on open nets.
I do, yeah.
All right. It's okay. Okay. Really risky second challenge, but the fact that you made it work is good. So I'm curious where this throw is coming in. 50-50 is okay. Fake. Okay, I don't like this challenge. It somehow works though, but I think the fake would have been a bit better. Okay, now the game is in our teammates' hands. Okay, our teammates getting challenged by two people, and we're getting the corner boost. This is really rough.
We're throwing. And then I double commit.
Yeah. So I think we could actually take a quick moment after this goal comes in. Yeah. We can just look at that from our teammates' POV, because this is, again, where if you're duo queuing, the comms are really important, because this is where you actually take advantage of the comms. So you want to do more of an effort to call your teammate off. And, if you mess up because it was a bad call, then so be it. But the call has to come in sooner rather than later, because then you just keep your team as a well-oiled machine. Yeah, can't do much here.
Well, I could have hit it at the corner, which is what I wanted, and then I just got a bad touch.
Yeah.
This guy messed up the offense amazingly.
And the only thing that happened is that you played two directly behind the ball. So if you started swerving a little bit more while maintaining top speed, then it would be easier for you to hit it into the corner. Because I think that one of the things that people mess up from this position is not letting the camera angle change, because we've already established that we're quite far away from the net. So there's nothing wrong with having the camera angle where our car is facing our own net, because it's easier for us to sniper backward. Because we could just literally slow down. Yeah. We could just literally slow down, have the camera warp, and then we see our backboard, and then it's easy for us to just side flip and snipe it into our corner. And then if we're lucky, we hit our teammate who respawns. In this case, we would get lucky, but...
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hey, Mike, quick time check. It's 1 hour in, so I don't know if you want to still do one more replay or move to the next section. But I'll let you make that call.
I think we have to get into the next section, because I think we're going to be too ahead of time. But if we'll do a question round after this game, and then we'll get into the routine. And then for those of you that are interested, you can share your screen, and I'll go over some of the routines where I first show obviously what we're going to be doing, and then I'll have spectate some other people. Really, so yeah, this is one small thing that has just been in the back of my mind since the last bit of the game. So we're down to like the last 1.5 minutes where we see this more and more. And Fallen plays way too aggressive with low boost, and the opponent's half, because again, the onus is on the opponent to try to win right now. We just have to play the clock. If we get one more goal, sure, we make them forfeit, but all we're doing is saving 30 seconds of our life. Whereas what we want to be doing is
really expecting him to ball chase more, because he was very patient, and I wanted to just take a 50.
Yeah.
Which he was facing in the wrong direction, and I didn't notice that. So.
This is okay. I think you're using way too much boost here. So, like here, getting supersonic right now, I think I hear the click where you get supersonic. Then all you do is just ride the wave, and you get to the ground, save your 20 boost. But you're full boosting to a ball that you can never touch to begin with.
Yeah.
So we're down to 11. We could have been in position with roughly 25-30. And now we're down to 11. So we had 11 for the 50, and that's it. And then we have nothing for the recovery. So if you're a bit more boost efficient there, you could get more value out of the play by having some for the recovery and some for the outplay. Yeah, that's a bit unlucky.
Yeah.
Go for the corner boost. That's okay. All right, teammate does get the mid boost. Okay, that's huge. We can probably win from this position.
Yeah, and that's why I do tend to take the because I'm more comfortable with it. I try to cheat more often, but if it's like in game and like I'm just like don't lose the game, then I'll go over.
Yeah.
Corner boost.
Yeah, so all in all, just pretty solid. I would say the major takeaways is, again, slightly optimizing some of the defensive positions, especially in the 1v1s, where you don't want to just play directly behind the ball because that's the easiest thing to do. Like, sometimes you just have to get the read on the opponent and then intentionally either do something with car cam or do something where you have the camera warp by slowing down. And then it's easier for you to get some of these better defensive touches. And then, again, when you're winning, just doing more of the drive challenges, because we saw that you were doing stuff when you were relatively even or slightly ahead in the earlier game, where you do a drive challenge just because you want to play for value, but then you're not doing that when you're winning the game. It's like, no, I want one extra goal because why not?
I want a flip reset. Yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah, so all in all, I think the 50s were really solid. I would say in a few cases it was really just down to a skill check, where I think if your opponent played it better, you would have probably gotten destroyed on some of the 50s where you went for the second or the third one.
Yeah.
But I think that generally you were doing a lot of good things this game.
Thanks.
So yeah, do we have any questions before we start going to the training / mechanics section?
Did I miss my replay, Mike? My wife got strep today, so I've been taking care of her until right now.
Yeah, you did miss it.
But it's on YouTube.
Sweet.
As always, Fro, I'm not very generous when I do your replays.
No, I expect that.
Yeah, the VOD will be up on the Twitch for after we're done, and it'll post on the YouTube for you too.
All right, I'm just gonna change the source quickly, but actually, yeah, we'll just do it this way. So give me a sec. I'm just gonna change the source, and then we should be good.
Are there any other questions from anyone who's hanging out in the Discord chat from that replay, or any general questions from Mike in general? Take that as enough.
All right. What's the term again? Silence is something.
Agreement?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, okay, so we got our training section. So for those of you that know how to do it, I posted some training packs inside the text chat of this voice channel. So you'll see like there's a little text box when you hover over it with your mouse. There you'll find some of the training packs. So we'll go over the ground stuff first, because I think that we can make some grounds with working on a lot of the ground training.
That's funny.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't even think about it, but I calculated.
I'll post it to the Twitch chat too, if anybody's just following along there. Right.
Yep. So this one is one of my favorite training packs ever made, just because of how versatile it is. And I want to show. We're just going to start off with a very simple routine, and we're going to go over a few shots. So again, one reminder for the new people that are joining the chat. Please disable randomizer when you're in your Bacchus mod if you're using it, and also disable the custom shot variance. So like variance sometimes means that it's just that the ball will be slightly different in the trajectory or the speed. Because we have a very cool training pack where we can actually constantly add levels of difficulty, and we can also make it more and more challenging as well by adding in multiple steps. So, what is this? This is not the correct training pack.
Quick shout out to Krychek in the Twitch chat for dropping the gift subs. And Colonel Cash says, not a GC, but enjoying these replays. Thanks for putting these together. So appreciate it, Mike.
Thank you very much, Colonel.
I was kind of confused. I mean, I am using it for air roll shots, but it definitely does not have their name, air roll shots.
This one's called... Oh, wait, it isn't air roll. Yeah, so this is actually novice power slides. That's what the training pack should be called. I think that the skill that probably is most underdeveloped for Champ 3s and C3s, I'll probably have to change my FPS if you guys don't mind. Hopefully it doesn't affect it too much.
Yeah, you're fine.
This is probably the most underutilized skill in the game, is learning how to shoot balls that are falling before they hit the ground. So I think they're called half volleys. I generally tend to mix them up. But essentially, it's knowing how to get lift on the ball that is falling on the ground while also like masking the fact that you're gonna like go for, let's say, a dribble or like a power shot. So if anyone that wants to share their screen, feel free to do so, and then I will just give you some tips while doing these.
Let me know who you're following, Mike.
Yep. So we have Enfall on stream, and what did you say?
I said you're smacking the hell out of that ball.
Yeah, exactly, because this is such a good skill to have. So generally, what we're gonna do, by the way, is we're gonna like establish some ground rules in terms of like what kind of balls we should be shooting. So every ball that goes, let's say, above the halfway point of the net is something that we will consider as like a good shot. And then for the Europeans in the chat, we're looking for around 100 kph minimum, or for the Americans, it's 60 mph.
Freedom units.
Yep. So this one, for reference, is I think it's about 64 miles per hour, something like that. So pretty good shot overall. And so you'll see that there's a few of these backboard shots that we can find inside this training pack. They're not very useful, but a lot of these other ones we can start compounding the difficulty. So I guess, seeing as most people are not streaming, then I can hopefully have some people tag along as well. Then we can start building it up. Oh, we got Raikage streaming. Nice. I'll take a look at Raikage's stream quickly. Then we can get some feedback quickly. Let's see.
Okay, Raikage, you're live.
Yeah.
All right, what are we doing? How do I join? Air roll ground shots?
Yeah, so you look at, you just copy and paste that training pack. If you want to share your screen, you can share your screen, because what we're going to be doing is we're just going to get a few of these shots in where we get comfortable with shooting the ball close to the crossbar when it's falling down. And so one of the things that we can see with Raikage is there's one small optimization that Raikage could be doing, is trying to move a little bit further away. And funnily enough, as I was saying that, Raikage did move a little bit further away. So this is one of the things that really is going to give you a lot of mileage in terms of being able to generate the height on the shot, is not cutting too close on the ball, because doing it really tight is something that SSL should be expected to do.
What am I supposed to do?
Shoot ball, like, so we're doing like shot 1, 2, 5, and something else. So we'll see when we get there. But we're just learning to shoot this ball before it hits the ground bounce, and we want to try to delay it as much as possible as well. And then again, the metrics that we're looking for is that the ball goes halfway above the net line, the vertical net line, and also 60 mph minimum.
60 mph minimum. Am I supposed to, like?
He says this posted somewhere, Mike.
Yeah, it's in the text chat.
This what we want to do? Power slide, power shot.
It's called, yeah, novice power slides, but it doesn't really matter how you do it. It's more so the point is that we're learning how to shoot this, because we're when we see a few people doing it, we're going to add in a level of difficulty. So Raikage generally is doing quite well, and then the only thing is we want to just see a little bit more consistency. So now Raikage is 2 for 2. That's really good.
For those in Discord chat that are following, the text chat is the GC Masterclass text chat. You can get to it by hovering over the thing and then hitting the open chat icon next to the.
Thank you. And this is air roll ground shot.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm watching Still a Fox right now. Still a Fox is looking really clean on it. Definitely like to see it. So, yeah. So Still Fox is probably a good example. So we see a few things where Still Fox gets nice and low on the ball, but not too low. So the thing that's really good with what Still Fox does is he hits like the bottom quarter or the bottom half of the ball, somewhere there, where it doesn't create too much height, but also it still generates quite a lot of power. And then also bonus points for hitting the ball when it's really close to the ground. I think that just generally the consistency is good. Probably could get a little bit more height on average, but I think that generally this is something that Still a Fox is very consistent on. So I think with that said, if anyone has any questions or wants me to look, then let me know, because otherwise what we're going to do is we're going to add a level of difficulty to the challenge.
I'm so bad.
Because one of the most after learning this, one of the most underutilized techniques in the game is learning how to bounce the ball off your car when you drive into it. I think that this is easily one of the most underutilized skills in the game. So what we want to be doing with the exact same shot on shot 1 is we want to drive into the ball where it hits roughly between the end of our bumper, or sorry, not the bumper, the hood of the car, and near the windshield. And then you get a nice meaty pop on the ball. And then from there, you just want to put it towards the top corner, preferably, or you can put it towards the crossbar.
What does it say about me if I'm way better at that than the easy part of just hitting it at the net hard?
It means you're probably a dribble god. And you can add
practicing air dribble catches. Catches into air dribbles, like brain aerials.
And one thing that we can do to, again, add a dimension of difficulty to this ball is we can touch it once with maybe the corner of a car or like, slightly above the cap of the wheels. And then we can swerve around the ball to try to get it towards the same corner that we're starting on. So maybe some people have randomizer on. But in my case, I'm starting on the right side of the ball, so I want to be putting it top right by swerving to the left of the ball. And then if you want as well, you can learn how to set up for top left. And top left is probably the harder shot, if you, or the opposite side of where the ball is coming from. Yeah, we can just take a look. I'm still on Still Fox's stream, by the way, Sketch.
Okay.
So we're gonna see.
I don't know if you said catching it would be adding a level of difficulty.
Not catching it, popping it off your car with the hood. So yeah, like what Still Fox did, that is textbook. That's pretty much exactly what I'm looking for. It was a really nice shot. First touch was not too heavy. Because the reason why this technique is so good is because most of you that would be on the goal line would expect an instant shot. But if we pop it closer and then we generate a lot of height later, all of a sudden the defender has absolutely zero clue what we're doing. And this also applies to a lot of midfield pressure where learning how to bounce the ball off your car, where it just gets a nice little heavy pop and then you can generate height from there. Really just, again, underutilized skill to have. I'll quickly hop into Opan's stream, Mr. Skitch.
Okay.
It's on shot 1. Yeah. And one thing that you want to be a little careful with, by the way, Opan, is jumping before the ball bounces off your car. You want to jump a little bit later, because the ball staggers your car a little bit, so you want to delay it a bit more. Yeah, that one was probably a bit too nose heavy, but at least you got a decent amount of height.
Okay, whatever settings Opan has is the best I've seen so far in the Discord stream.
Yeah, I think do you have Nitro Opan?
Nope.
All right. He has Swedish internet, so he's cheating.
That is true.
And also, one other thing that you can do is, feather your boost a bit more. So the full boost to get away from the ball is really good at the start, but then you can feather your boost slightly when you move towards it. Because we want to be in that half throttle to full throttle range when we make that first touch. Perfect. Yeah. So there, one thing, this might be a bit of a KBM issue, is that it's harder for you to regulate your throttle speed. So you might have to be tapping W after you get that first touch on the ball because you're getting a bit too low when you actually go for the jump on the shot. So if the first touch works out for you, I don't really see an issue. But when the ball is a bit slower, yeah, we're seeing this where you get too far underneath the ball. Yeah, nice. And so one of the reasons why I like using these kind of training routines for these packs is because I think that one of the things that a lot of GC players can get more mileage out of for their ground play is the fact that ground play is like a combo game. So I think most of the players that are hovering around Champ 1, Champ 2, they can isolate the mechanics quite well. So they can learn how to dribble, they can learn how to flick. But I don't see a lot of people putting that together into a streamlined process where it's in this case, we're going to take one touch and then we're going to take a shot that bounces off our car. Or in the other case that we're going to get a flick and then we're going to get the outplay on the next shot. So funnily enough, that's actually one of the things I did want to work on. So we're going to do that as well. And we're gonna do the spicy setup. We're gonna do something a little bit more difficult than the last time. So for those of you that are interested and feel like they've gotten enough out of the current shot, we're gonna go to shot 5. And shot 5 is a very good ball, because this is quite the common situation where people will be, let's say, retreating from the opponent's half. The ball just happens to roll for them in field, and what we're gonna try doing is, instead of shooting this directly towards the net like that, what we're gonna do is we're gonna swerve around the ball a bit more, and we're gonna try to get a similar touch that pops off more to the left. So like this. Because this opens our placement options completely. So when we get this ball that floats on the middle of the goal line, or let's say the shooting line, like this, we have top left, we have top right. And whatever you want to choose for, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But the opponent is the one that's left guessing, not us. So it's, again, quite similar to the last one. I'm going to go back to Raikage's stream sketch. Or actually, no, let's go to Silver.
Okay. Action Silver.
I know him.
Hey, new here.
Hello.
Can you throw the pack number up for me?
Yeah, it's in the chat.
They're in the chat of the stream.
I went there, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I must need to scroll up. Thanks, boys.
No, there's only one post, so it's just the stream chat.
It's the chat for the voice channel. So you go to the voice channel, and there's a little chat bubble. It's in
Yeah, I just saw Resilience comment. That's why I had to scroll up. You work in error roll ground shots?
Yeah, the first.
Yeah, it's called it's actually called something else, but I made that mistake. So I mean, we got poor Silver, who's playing on something that isn't a meta car. So I think for your first touch, it has to be a little bit more towards the windshield if you want that meaty pop that I'm talking about. I think the hood will be a bit too heavy for the endo. I think you're on shot 6 though instead of 5. I think it's I'm pretty sure it's 5.
6 is just the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that touch is pretty good. We can try to get it a little bit more to the left, though. Yeah, good. Pretty decent first touch. There's also, Silver is playing with relatively zoomed-in camera settings, so the burden of execution for that first touch is going to be higher than when you play with more zoomed-out camera settings.
Air dribble main.
And also, I was worried that I was going to scare off some people saying this, but if you want to get better at these kind of touches, 2s is obviously a good place to do it, but 1s is really good, because you're going to get a lot of these situations where you break the opponent on defense. You're going to get these. They're going to expect a shot, but you're just bouncing it off your car. Then they go for a panic challenge, and you pop it over them. So
hey, I've been on the other side of that so many times.
Yeah, lucky you, I didn't save the replays over 1v1s from the other day. Yeah, so definitely one tip I can give for Silver is try swerving around it a bit more. You can be a bit more aggressive on your boost use. And then try to own in with the corner of the car a bit more. And then the other tip, which, again, I'm probably going to scare off. Yeah, that was a perfect first touch. Nice. The shot was could have been a bit better, but the first touch was like a 10 out of 10, that one that you did. Nice. So, I mean, in terms of like the camera cue that you're looking for, you should be looking for where like the middle of the screen starts taking you a little bit above the crossbar. So that's when you know that you're gonna get a good setup in terms of like where you want to hit on the ball. Because when I play with slightly more zoomed out camera settings, so I can still see the field a bit more. But with your case, you want to see where the camera starts, where like the center point of the camera becomes above the crossbar, and that means that your shot should be lined up properly. I'm going to go over to a different stream. We'll go to... We'll go to Still a Fox.
I'm following Mike's training from the last time I talked to him, which is now hit the ball in each corner.
Yeah.
Bottom, top, left, and right.
All right, we got Still a Fox flexing. I like it. We'll go to Raikage's.
Definitely did mess up one bad enough that I got a flip reset. So that's always fun.
Cool. All
I'm gonna get some lunch. Thank you for everything, Mike. As always, you are a fantastic coach.
Thanks for joining.
Discord, type !Discord in the chat if you are over 18 and know how to act like an adult.
I dare say that half of us don't know how to do it.
No, but I'm old enough that it's fine. It's an either or.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, man.
Yep. Yeah, so for Raikage with this setup, you could definitely take a little bit more speed on the first touch. It's like a really small amount, but you can definitely hit it with a bit more power. And with the power slide, you want to be a bit careful with over power sliding, so you probably want to be letting go of your power slide a little bit earlier. But I think also what Raikage is doing is also completely fine, where you practice getting the bounce and then trying to flick it afterwards. And this is what's really important in training packs, where if you're working on your ground play for a training pack, you don't just want to practice doing one thing, unless you're like maybe towards the diamond level. If you're in Champ 2 Plus, I think it's more important that you spend time trying to combine multiple things. So a catch into maybe a flick into maybe, let's say, a backboard read, for example. I'm just spitballing some things, but it's really important to at least try to string together 2 or 3 different actions when you're working on your ground play in a custom training pack. And then I think for this one, we're going to go over to the last part of the training pack. And then, of course, for the people that are interested, you can always just do it in your own time. But I think that we can do one thing in the ground training pack, or sorry, in free play. And then we can move on to, free play. Then we got some air dribble practice, because I think that maybe some of the people here would like to learn how to get better at air dribbling. And some more advanced redirects, which I'm quite excited to go over.
I'm back on you, Mike. Are you doing shot 10?
Yeah, we're doing shot 10. And so what we're going to do is we're going to try to combine what we learned from the previous lessons, where we're going to try to bounce it off our car a second time after doing the initial touch. So if people are in the stream, I'll show what it looks like. Now we're making it way more spicy. So we get the first touch here, just like we normally would off a rolling ball, but we're going to bounce it off our car again, and then we're going to set up for like some kind of a hook shot or some kind of a bounce dribble shot.
What was the speed on that?
So yeah, which
I didn't see
it was 107 kph, so it could have been a bit faster for a hook shot, but I also messed up my first touch terribly. And one thing I'd also like to encourage people is, based on the first touch that you're getting, try to kind of wing it based on what you think you should be doing. So one of the other first touches I got was incredibly heavy, so I just shot it in one go. But in this case, my first touch was still good enough where I could take one extra bounce and then go for that shot. And this one is about 67 mph, I think. But yeah, so I'm curious to see if people can do this, because this is, again, a really underutilized skill, where you chip it once, then you bounce it off your car, and then you shoot it. Or, like, it's also just knowing how to bounce dribble, where you're letting the ball bounce off your car rather than the ground. But I think if you can get good at this, like, this will take your 1s and 2s to the next level, like, as the proper clickbaiter that I am. I will drop by Opan stream, by the way, Sketch.
Okay.
One touch. Yeah, so when you mess up this touch, just take the shot instead. I think that one thing that's really important when you're in training is don't be too rigid, where if you say, I'm going to do exactly this because I told myself I'm going to, sometimes you also just have to know how to take the backup plan. So if your first touch is really heavy, you want to just maybe take the shot in one go rather than taking the extra touch.
And when you say heavy, you mean like a bigger pop than you expected, right?
Yeah, so either the pop is too high, like it was way higher than you anticipated, or it's going really far to the net. Yeah, so Opan almost got it perfect with the first touch was really good that he got initially, and then the touch was too much towards the side of the car. It should have been a bit more frontal. And also, because one other thing is that because we're taking 2 touches in the sequence, you can try delaying your first touch a bit more. So when you actually chip the ball, you could try delaying that a bit more. Yeah, so that's good. Yeah, so that's more of like the traditional bounce dribble, but we're going to try to bounce it off our car a second time. Yeah, close. And if you're setting up for hook shots, by the way, so like in the examples that I gave, I was playing it more off to the side. If you're hook shotting it from, like, let's say the left side of the field, you probably want to be getting something a little bit faster than 60 mph. You're probably looking for 65, maybe even close to 70. So for the Europeans, that would be about 110 plus.
Anyone else who's streaming? Does anybody want to volunteer to be looked at?
Yeah, sure.
Who's that?
I mean, I'm
Fleek?
on Fleek. I'm not. I don't think I'm quite understanding the second touch that he's looking for.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll take a look.
Like, do you want me to?
So
Get under it.
yeah, so where you want to let it bounce off your car, but the reason why your first touch is really heavy is because you're driving into the ball a lot. So what I do is I take a left turn, I start slowing down, and then I get more of that touch that you just did.
Okay.
And then the next touch that you're doing should be with the windshield. A bit more towards the windshield, and then should be able to bounce off your car a bit better.
So.
But yeah, yep, and then drive under it again to bounce it off your car before it hits the ground. Yep.
And then shoot it.
Yeah, preferably shoot it. If you want to, you can also flick it. Like there's no strict rules, but I think for the sake of what we're doing, we do want to try to do the double bounce into the shot.
So when
like
you say
that.
shoot, you mean like? I'm not sure what you mean. Like that.
You want to look at my stream quickly? So it's a very specific first touch that you have to get. So in this case, I get this touch, and then I drive into it once like that, and then I shoot.
I see.
Yeah, so it's a very, very specific touch that you're looking for, but it's again one of these ones that you can fake your opponent out on because they might expect a shot. This is more towards the advanced end of ground control. Yeah, that one's way too heavy. And it's it's a combination of two things. It's like how fast you're going, but also which part of the hitbox you're using and when you hit the ball. Because if you notice that your ball is very flat when it bounces off your car, it's probably because you're hitting the ball too early. I guess it has to get relatively close to the ground while still hitting the windshield.
I have a quick question.
Go for it.
All right, so I'm a gold plat, so I'm lower. So when I saw you make that hit the ball the first time, Mike, is there anything wrong? Because whenever I do a training pack, I think of it in threes because that's my main mode. So if I hit the ball the first time and I hit it to the left or right, can I just pretend like I'm hitting it to my teammate and then, circle around in rotation? Would that be a wrong way to think about it?
Not necessarily, but I think that is a bit more towards the higher level thinking, because I think that as a goal player, what you'd rather do is be more proficient in the car control and the ball control, because that's going to carry you the most. So like passing by no means is a bad idea to integrate into your gameplay, but you have to ask yourself the question is, would you rather try to learn how to score the ball yourself, or would you rather pass it to a goal player?
Okay. So, all right. Score the ball yourself. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never pass. Got it.
Definitely not in gold. I mean, as horrible as it sounds to say, not in gold. I think if you're playing with friends, though, that's a different story, because then like the team aspect makes the game very fun. But if you're a solo queuer, I would probably not learn how to pass until I would get to maybe like Champ Plus or something.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, Mike, I'm back on you. So,
yeah. So we're going to get into the last part of the ground training, and then we'll move on to the aerial stuff. I'm actually
wondering on that. On the shot, can you just pop it up and then just air dribble in the net?
Yes. So we're going to get into that later. So this is also one of the things that I really like about this training pack, by the way, is you can also learn how to turn these into air dribbles. So like especially the ones that bounce away from the net. Like it would be shot 5, for example. You can practice taking a first touch off the ground bounce. So for those of you that are air dribble fanatics, this is a really good training pack to learn how to do like the power hits for air dribbling.
I think this is a nice air dribble on number 10 too. Because the ball's going pretty quick too, so if you get like a pop, then I don't know.
I Okay, there we go. You said shot 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I'd say it's a bit harder. I'd probably say like I don't know. Shot 15 might be a bit better for air dribbles.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna go quickly to free play. I don't think that we have to go over this too much, but I would say that one thing that is also a very good skill to learn for people that are in Champ 3 and also in GC1 is learning how to flick the ball and then shoot it afterwards. So we're looking for a very specific first touch, and we're also looking to take the flick at a certain speed. So if let's say our car speed is roughly half throttle, then half throttle is a very good place to work with in terms of getting a flick to outplay one, and then recovering, and then learning to shoot that. And so you don't have to make it very complicated. You can do it in free play. If you have a custom training pack that happens to work out, then by all means do it. But for people that are looking for the golden tip, is what we're trying to do with the flick is we're trying to put it further back on our car than we normally would, because if we put it further back on our car, we're generating a bit more height, but not a lot of forward speed. And one of the things that you can kind of tell, by the way, this is more of just like a litmus test, is where you should be flicking the ball is if you dribble it with ball cam on, you want to get it close to the point where the ball starts to warp. So you see like here, this means that it's directly above my car. And we're looking for that point where it gets close to warping. That's usually a pretty good place to go for these higher flicks. And you're not allowed to take the ground bounce as well. I think that speaks for itself, though. Because I think the most common thing that you're going to see in a C3 or GC1 lobby is you're going to flick it over one, but then the question is, can you shoot it off the flick into the past the next guy? I'll take a look at a few victims for an example. Let's go to Winston. I'm curious if Winston can do it.
Oh, I don't know. What try we're doing? Sorry.
We're going to free play.
Oh, free play?
Yeah, and we're just doing a simple exercise. We're going to flick the ball, and then we're going to shoot it before it ground bounces.
Don't look at me, dude.
Oh, I will look at you.
All right, free play, and then where are we doing?
Just press up on your D-pad when you respawn. So just do the respawn. I don't know what reset shot is for you.
Yeah. Oh, my bad.
Yeah, so just press up on your D-pad. Put it back on your car, and then build a bit of speed, flick it, and then try to see if you can shoot it after you flick it. Not like that. We're doing it entirely on the ground. So this is a good starting point. Flick it once.
Oh, yeah. What's a flick?
And to think that we might be related. Yeah, so we're gonna make it less complicated, Winston. So just put it on top of your car. I think it's up on the D-pad. Yeah, and then just flick it once and see if you can build the height on it. Yeah, so that's not half bad, but I think the side flip messed up your recovery. You're looking more for like a diagonal flip flick or a front flip flick.
You're talking about somebody that never ground dribbles. I don't think I'm the one to do this.
Any other volunteers?
Yes, please.
If no one volunteers, I volunteer again.
All right. Yeah, we'll go to our volunteer. Yeah. All right, let's see it. Good first flick. Nice try.
Should I be using ball cam for the second shot?
Not necessarily. You can if you want to, but it's not necessary. It's a flavor thing, I would say. Yeah, so that's a little bit too forward. So there was two things. Is probably the ball was not far enough on your car there, and also your speed when you initiated the flick was a bit on the high side. Like this is probably a good speed to start the flick. Yeah. And so one thing that you want to be doing, this is going to be a little bit hard to explain without like some kind of a diagram. But when you're going to take the jump on the ball, you want to have it either in two places. You want to have it where like the tip of your nose is close to the back circle of the ball ring or the circle that you see on the ground. Or you want it to be away entirely if you can still build some more ground speed. Because imagine that the bumper is like intersecting with the circle of the back circle, all you'd have to do is double jump to score it. You wouldn't have to actually do a flip.
You're talking about after I flick. after I flick, get
Yeah.
like in the front line my bumper with the front line of the circle?
Yeah. So the one that doesn't move.
The one that doesn't move. What's that?
Yeah. So there's like two circles. Technically, there's the one that expands and contracts. That just shows how high the ball is. But you're looking for the outer ring.
Got it.
So if your bumper is touching that outer ring that I was talking about, then technically all you'd have to do is double jump to try to score it.
If your bumper's touching the outer ring. Okay.
Yeah, all you'd have to do is double jump and maybe tilt your nose back a little bit. Yeah, so your forward speed was a little bit too high on that flick, but I think that was actually one you could work with if your car was moving a bit slower. There, your car was, or the ball was way too far on your nose.
So, in a general sense, how do you know when to flick versus pounding the ball toward the goal?
If it's on your car, the dichotomy is whether you should take the low 50-50 or whether you should flick it. If you're in this position where, let's say, flick is, you could either control it again or you could shoot it. But I think most people struggle to shoot it off a flick. I might be wrong on that, but I think that a lot of people cannot generate, let's say, a good 65 mph shot off of a flick. But I would say in most cases, probably flicking is better because it's a relatively safe mechanic to do. Like you hit the ground really fast. You can just land all four wheels on the ground really fast, and then if you want, you can go again. But you don't even have to go again. That's the beauty. Because when you're shooting and you jump really far midair, you're flying all the way to the opponent's net in a lot of situations. Yeah, generally the progression is looking pretty solid, and I think where you're struggling with flick is the consistency of getting the ball in front of your car. So you tend to flick it more off to the side rather than in front of you. And then also the pacing. The pacing is like the hardest part of generating a lot of power on a shot after the flick. But that was also again why the first training pack was so useful, because learning to shoot balls that are falling is a very useful skill to have when you're shooting off a ball that you just flicked. I'm going to quickly go to Opon, and then we do some aerial stuff, and then we can maybe do a question round and call it a day.
All right, we're on Opon.
First one.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I'm just going to watch Opon do a few attempts, then we go to aerials. Also, for the people that are interested, I mean, we're probably going to do both, but are people more interested in air dribbles or more interested in advanced aerial shots?
Where you can't do both. Are you talking about the redirects for the advanced aerial shots?
Yeah, that's the pack I will be doing. It's a very good one.
I'd say the air dribbles is probably more useful for the general player. Redirects is probably like a thing you should practice in GC, right? Because if you're practicing redirects, doesn't that mean you're typically out of rotation anyway?
It's not that. It's I think that I've coached quite a few people where it's not like their ability to aerial is bad, but their fundamental approach to the ball is what's holding them back from getting better shots. So that's where I think the utility comes from. Because I see too many people taking very linear approaches to the ball, but you also want to think about the problem-solving aspect, which is how do I fly to generate the most amount of power on this ball. Yeah, generally, Opon doing a pretty good job of getting the first flick down. As I say that, though, I caster curse him. But I think the pacing as well, again, that's a keyboard and mouse issue, I feel, where pacing yourself after recovery is very hard, because as soon as you press a break tap on keyboard, it's very violent. I think one thing that you might be doing, I might be wrong on this, Opon, is you want to be careful with boosting while you're flicking. I think you want to try to not do that. You can boost on the ground, but try not to do it midair, unless you're doing a very specific flick. Yeah, because I saw you flip through the ball a few times. Yeah, and the ball, by the way, has to go a little bit further back on your car. Yeah, that was maybe a bit too far back, but it was still decent. So I guess with this out of the way, does anyone have any questions? Nice try. Yeah, and that's also one thing that's worth working on is so sometimes what's going to happen when you flick is that you're going to recover directly underneath the ball with ball cam on. It's still worth learning how to shoot and read those awkward camera angles. All right, we shall move on to air dribbles if no one has any further questions. So I think we'll go over the training pack called Air Dribblings XXL or something like that. Should be one of the links inside the chat.
Is that the one D749? The air dribbles? Let's see.
This one. So we're going to keep it nice and simple because I also do want to see where people are at in terms of the... What is this? This is not... I don't know if anyone else has issues, but I keep getting issues with the mouse resets when I select a pack, so I should probably just do it with this.
You're doing the D749? Okay, I'll post that in the Twitch chat.
Yeah.
And again, if you're looking for the code, it's go to the GC Masterclass voice channel and open up the little open text chat. It's there.
Well, this bounces like.
And we're using the last pack from Mike's message. It says air dribble.
So I think we're gonna skip all the way to shot 3. By the way, I think shot 3 is actually a really good baseline for learning the first touch on the air dribble. So I'm actually, rather than showing it to other people, I'm actually more curious to see where people are at, because then it's easier for me to work from there. But as a general tip, though, for those of you that are in my stream right now on Discord, is the first touch has to be a very specific point on the ball. So it depends a little bit on your camera settings, but you'll see that there is this little blue gem on the ball, all the way at the bottom, and you're going to be aiming for slightly behind that blue gem, or let's say towards you. Because when you do that, you're going to hit a very nice part of the ball where it still generates a little bit of forward momentum, but it builds more height than anything. Because I think where most people make the mistake in air dribbles is they hit the ball too far from the middle of the ball, or like directly behind the ball. So then you get these kind of air dribbles, it looks like this, and then all you can do is just, drag it to the ground. So we're going to see where people are at in terms of like the technical level and the reads, and then I will give some pointers based on that.
Okay, let me know who you want to go
to. I think Silver is generally quite good at air dribbles from what I remember, so we're going to go to Silver. Yeah, so we're going to do no power hits, by the way, Silver. You're going to let the ball bounce, and then you're going to try to jump from underneath it. So what you have to do is you have to delay it even more, because when you delay the ball even more on your approach, it's easier for you to build height without the ball smacking you back down to the ground. So I would say that your ability to power hit the ball is completely fine, but I'm more curious to see if people can start an air dribble after the ball bounces. We'll go to Winston. I think Winston likes air dribbles. Yeah, so Winston, you should delay your first touch even more. So don't get too close to the ball. Try to build more speed later in your first touch. And yeah, you see how that feels a lot floatier? Still too much forward speed. Try to build it later. So just don't full speed, then slow down, and then hit the ball. Just try to build more of a linear approach in terms of speed. Okay, not half bad.
I'm streaming as well, Mike. If you need more.
Can you delay your first touch more, Winston? Yeah, there we go.
So this might be an obvious question, Mike, but in this situation, we should wait. We should only do this when the opponent is not close to us, when you have space, right?
Yeah. But I think more so it's important because sometimes air dribbles are more useful than just flying it straight to the net, because what you want to think about when you're going for air dribbles as well is like how heavy is your first touch going to be, because if you get a very heavy first touch, then the opponent has a cue where they know that there's going to be a buffer where you have to hit the ball. And then they have an easier read on where you're going to try to hit the ball past them. So when you go for these more floatier style air dribbles, it's actually better to get outplays on the opponent. You have to delay it by even more, because one thing that I'm seeing with Vincent is that when he hits the ball, he gets staggered towards the ground. So you delay it a bit more, you start holding down when you execute your first jump, and then you double jump into the ball. And then you should get a nice floatier setup. And then the only other thing that you can do, Winston, is when you start getting these slower first touches, is try to hit the ball a little bit more from underneath rather than from directly behind. Yeah, I think with some of your first touches, they're going really high. So in that case, you could probably hit the ball more from higher. I would say it's a feeling thing where you have to try to feel it out based on what kind of first touch you get. So a lot of Winston's first touches are actually going quite heavily towards the net. So then you have to build more height first, then start hitting the ball from behind rather than from directly underneath. But yeah, I think one of the reasons why I picked air dribbles for those that are interested is because I think that air dribbles are a very versatile skill to have. I think that you can do so much with air dribbles, both defensively and offensively, that I do think they're worth learning if you're Champ 3 or GC. And you don't have to learn them for like clipping on people or anything like that. It is just a very useful form of ball control to have, because for everyone that watches RLCS here, you see how often people will catch the ball midair and then start air dribbling it off to the side to give it to their teammate. Or air dribble it and take a 50-50 against the opponent. Yeah, I think you're still hitting the ball a little bit too early, and you want to try to build the speed a little bit more linearly. So like try just like half throttling towards the ball at the start. Just gently throttle and then start boosting when you have the read on how and when you're going to hit the ball. Yeah, that setup was actually better, funnily enough. Oh, because what you want to do for like this specific first touch in shot 3 is you want to slowly build up speed, and then when you're going to go for a hit on the ball, that's when you start boosting. So you don't want to have you don't want to be too close to the ball and very slow when you go for the first touch. You want to be further away and then start building the speed when you're in there. I will go to Crispy's stream, Mr. Skitch.
Okay.
Yeah, so Crispy's ability to air dribble is pretty solid. And then I think for this ball, you want to be taking the first touch even later. Even later. So what you want to do for your first touch is just just initiate the shot and then start like half throttling. And then get closer to the ball and then start full boosting, because you want to hit a very specific low part of the ball. No power hitting. You're only allowed to start the air dribble midair. All right. I will go into the next shot in a bit that I think is also worth learning. I think this is more of a gauge on the technical skill aspect. So I don't think it's something that we can realistically cover for the sake of where we're at in terms of time. But for those of you that are able to join my stream, and I want to use this more of like a car control gauge, I think this is a pretty good one. So I want to talk about a few things with the shot number 5 in the training pack. So number 1 is when you're practicing this shot, what I would like people to do is not try to make the correction where they steer on the ground and then try to hit the ball towards the net. So like a lot of people that I see doing this, they turn left, then they turn right, and then they try to air dribble it towards the net. What we want to do is learn how to take our second touch in the air where we start putting it towards the net. because this is more of a car control exercise than anything. And then one of the best tips that I can give for people that are learning air dribbles, I think this is more applicable to the people that are in the higher ranks, is try making your read on where you want to touch the ball from further away. Because I think the most common mistake that I see people making when they're learning air dribbles is that they get really close to the ball, then all of a sudden their screen is covered by a huge ass ball, and then they start making these unnecessary inputs. Whereas if you make the read from further away, it's so much easier to figure out how you want to do the inputs before you actually even get close to the ball.
Hey, Mike, quick question from the chat. Mechanist is asking, how important would you say directional air roll is for air dribbles?
I would say very important. I used to have 5,500 hours, I think, before I learned my directional air roll. And ever since then, it made a huge impact on my ability to air dribble. So I think it's really nice because it does two things. So one thing that I could not do with free air roll, are you in my stream, by the way, Skitch?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to show this really clearly. So the thing that I could not do with free air roll was this, where I hit the ball towards the enemy corner, let's say like this. I could not make this adjustment that I did right now, where I adjust it towards the net. Like that with free air roll was almost impossible for me. So I'll see if I can do this with free air roll right now. Oh man, I just can't even do this anymore. But yeah, like you just can't really make these really crisp turns midair. So this is what it looks like when I do free air roll, which I'm compensating for it, and it's fine. It doesn't look half bad. But this turn that I'm making midair, where I get to the side of the ball, I start sending it towards the net. It's way easier to do with directional air roll. Like the mobility that people talk about that you get from directional air roll is completely worth learning for more advanced aerial techniques.
Is there another one that's opposite side? Can I switch this?
Yeah, you can mirror it if you're not using Bacchus mod. I think if you press down or up, it will mirror the shot. But yeah, so I think that we'll just leave it at here. We'll get into the redirects and then we will call it a day. So I think there should be a second pack in the training pack, which is called 50 redirects. We'll be doing a few shots from that, and we'll call it a day. I think mine is at the top, actually. There we go. So I think I'm just going to scroll through it. We're going to do shot 1.
Real quick, Mike, I just saw DJ Cornet's question. He said his shot 3 is different. Is that Bacchus mod? Yeah, there's what modifiers and randomizers in Bacchus mod. You gotta make sure you turn off if you're following along here.
Yeah. If you're, you maybe also accidentally press the mirror shot button, which is down on the D-pad. That's also possible. So what happens is that it automatically skips like 3 or 4 shots. It's a very weird button, but that's just what it does. So we're gonna do shot 1 on this training pack. And there's a few ways to do this shot, and I'm curious to see where people are at in terms of like the aerial skill. Shot 1, shot 3. We're gonna do. Yeah, and shot 8. We're gonna do 1, 3, and 8. I think these pretty much grasp what I'm looking for in terms of the more advanced type of aerials. So I'm curious. I'm just gonna look at a few people just to see what the baseline is. I'm looking at. I think we can look at Stilla Fox because I think Stilla Fox has so far been really solid.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
so what shot number?
1. We're gonna just do them in order as well. So we're gonna do 1, 3, and then 8. So one thing I want to point out, by the way, that what Stilla Fox is doing is he's doing what I call the tap-in. So for some of these redirects, you can just kind of tap it into the net. But in terms of generating the most optimal amount of power, there is a different way of doing it. And essentially what you have to be doing is trying to create a line that will gradually intersect with the ball where you can hit it from behind. Because when you fly and you keep the ball in the middle of your screen, then yeah, you will be able to touch the ball. You will be able to send it towards the net. But the problem is that you can't generate a lot of additional power. So this training pack, for reference, if you shoot it in with a tap in, you could probably still get 120 kph, or that would be about 70-ish miles per hour. But if you do it where you let the ball cross in front of your car, and then you find the striking point where you generate a lot of power, all of a sudden you can get 150 kph per hour shots, kph shots, and that would be like close to 90 miles per hour. So there's a big difference between the tap-in, which we're seeing Stillafox do, and some of the more advanced ways of shooting. So I'll go back and see if I can fish for a shot where I generate a lot of power.
Okay, I'll go back to
I hit the bar there, I think. Yeah. So even though I hit the bar here, I still got 111. And that's because what I want people to, if anyone's watching my stream right now, what I want you to look at is the fact that the ball is going to start swerving to the right side of my screen, and that's my cue to start building forward speed. And the only thing that I'm struggling with right now is sending it downwards towards the net. But this is the more ideal way of shooting in a lot of cases. So I'll show for people that maybe didn't catch it. Stillafox is doing a great job of mirroring the ball, keeps it on the middle of the screen, and then the ball catches up, and then eventually Stillafox can just kind of tap it in. And I'll show that you can still get quite a lot of power by doing this. So this is probably 105 kilometers per hour. 126. So you see, still relatively fast. And again, there's nothing wrong with this shot because it depends on where you are on the map. But if I build height first and then I snipe it downwards, I should be able on paper to get a lot more. So this one is probably going to be 140. Let's see if I'm right. Yeah, 138. So the thing that I really want to highlight again, the importance is that you try to let the ball cross over to the right side of your screen, and then you find the line that converges in your head where you can shoot from behind the ball.
Could I ask a question?
Go for it.
Is there any benefit to spinning? You see how you spin the car before you hit the ball versus just going straight for it? Is there any like benefit to the game?
So one of the things that is very nice about tornado spins, in particular, is that it's a good speed option. So like, let's say I'm doing this. So the only thing that I can do here is feather my boost, like let's say to modulate my speed. But if I tornado spin, because I'm shaking my entire booty around, it's actually a slow way to aerial, but it's a good way to modulate the speed. So if let's say I want to go very fast at the start, but then I need to slow down towards the end, I can just keep holding boost, but then just press the opposite direction of my directional air roll, and then it's a good way to slow me down. So the spinning, obviously I like it for the car control aspect of the game, but I like it because when you intentionally start spinning wide, like with the tornado spins, you're gonna slow your car down. So let's say for the people that are like learning directional air roll, probably people tornado spin way too much. But tornado spin is such a good tool to control your speed.
Thanks.
And what I also recommend specifically for these shots is if you are using your directional arrow, that's completely fine. But I do recommend letting go of it, like maybe 1 or 2 spins where you normally wouldn't, just to make sure you hit the ball exactly the way you want to. Oh, almost got it. We'll just take a look at maybe Vincent, and then we'll move on to the next shot.
Do Gomi, dude. Gomi's
All right.
really good at those.
Well, we'll do Gomi.
Yeah, Gomi is great at air, yeah, correct.
Try not to tornado spin too much at the start, and then tornado spin later in the aerial. Close. And then one other thing as well is full boost more at the start of your aerial, and then start feathering when you want to get that alignment that you're looking for. Because I think you're not building enough height early in the aerial, and then you're slowing down or not slowing down enough when you actually go for the shot. That's a pretty good shot. Oh, that was almost perfect. I think one thing though is that you're flying a little bit too much with the ball. I think you could try flying a little bit straighter and then gradually branching out to the right when you want to start meeting up with the ball. Oh yeah, that was powerful. Looking good. Yeah, so overall, just looking pretty good. I think generally I'm happy for the first shot. If anyone has any questions, let me know, but then otherwise we just move on to shot 3. So shot 3, funnily enough, is probably easier than shot 1. So shot, you want to think of shot 3 as a bit more of like a refined version of the read, where you have a very specific flight path, and what you want to do is, again, just let the ball gradually cross to the left side of your screen, and then just full boost when the ball gets in front of your car. And so the thing that you want to be looking for this shot is that you're not supersonic before you get close to the ball, because if you're supersonic, that means you can't adjust your speed anymore. So when I'm doing this adjustment where I'm about to hit the ball, I'm probably like maybe 70 to 80% top speed, but then I still have enough wiggle room where I just boost forward and then I generate an absurd amount of power. Yeah, so that's 145 kph. And so again, this one is quite simple. We're just going to let the ball gradually go to the left side of our screen. And then when we know that it's aligned with the net, based on where our nose is pointing, we're just going to full boost into the ball, and it will fly in very quickly. So I'll quickly take a... We'll go back to Gomi's stream quickly, and then we'll look at someone else. Not bad. Oh, that was unfortunately not bar down. Yeah. Yep. I think for the sake of accuracy, maybe don't spin before you go for the touch on the ball. So maybe cut your rotation like 1 or half short. Nice. Yeah, so that was just really clean. Just a good exercise on spatial awareness, where you're going to hit on the ball. And Gomi is so far 2 for 2. So yeah, I don't know. I think most people in the chat would probably say that this shot is easier than shot 1. But this is also just, again, like showing that you have the refined read. And those of you that are interested, the way you make the shot more difficult is by intentionally cutting infield more at the start. So instead of full boosting in the line that you're presented to, you turn a little bit to the right at the start of the shot, and that will make your shot a bit more difficult. But yeah, with that said, I think we're going to go straight into the bread and butter, which is my favorite shot in this training pack, which is shot 8. And so I think shot 8 is going to be a very, very fun one. Because shot 8 requires like 3 different lines that you have to take. So my hands are not exactly warm, but I'll see if I can do it. Because what I think what's going to happen with most people, by the way, is we're going to see this shot right now, what's happening. So it's just going to hit the backboard. And there is 2 ways of remedying that. One of them is kind of cheating in my eyes, but we'll talk to it when we get there. And the other thing is that what we have to do for this ball that's very difficult is we have to overshoot our aerial where we start getting slightly above the ball. And then this gives us an avenue to generate downwards momentum. So you see right now, overshooting the ball right before I was about to touch it. And we can start boosting downwards, and that's where we're getting the height that we're looking for, because now these are going to be probably crossbar down. Yeah. So to reiterate, we're going to build a lot of height first, where we only barely start overshooting the ball. We're going to let go of boost when we do get to that point, and this should provide us with the ability to generate downwards momentum. And one tip I'll give as well is, like, as a reference point, we probably want our car to be pointing like 30 degrees downwards. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect science, by the way. Like, don't be too rigid about it. But 30 degrees downwards after we get over the ball is a pretty good angle to have to send this towards the net where it doesn't ground bounce. And also, we have to think about which part of the car it's going to hit with the ball. So preferably we do want to just do middle bumper most of these shots, but if it hits like above the nose or something, that's also fine.
Is method 2 going up the wall?
Oh yeah, sorry. Method 2 is delaying it more. So what happens is if you delay it more, you see how the ball will start to come down. And then what happens is that if we hit slightly above the center of the ball, we're just going to hit the ball even more downwards. So method 2 is cheating because it makes the shot easier by delaying it. But let's say we are worried about getting challenged. Well, what we have to do is go above the ball and then go downwards again to hit it really fast. Because when the ball is at the apex of its flight path, that is where it's really hard to send the ball downwards, because we're doing it really fast and we're also not having gravity help us shoot it downwards. But when you delay it and then you just hit above the ball, that's where it doesn't show a lot of technical proficiency. Speaking of, I've missed it like 3 or 4 times, but it doesn't matter. But yeah, so like that shot that I did there, that's what it roughly looks like when you delay it. So you're going to see that the ball starts coming down. It's down, down, down. I just hit slightly above the ball. It still goes in. And, you know, again, by no means a bad shot if you hit this in game. But I think what's harder to execute is you fly above the ball and then you start boosting downwards. Because that shows that you have a very good grasp of the physics. So we'll take a look at Stillafox. Stillafox is pretty good. Yeah, so there he gets above the ball. It's a little bit laggy, the stream. I don't know if it is for other people.
I was gonna say, are you running it at half speed or is it? Still, are you running it at? No, okay. I thought maybe you had it at half speed or something, but it's just laggy.
Yeah, he's running it at 1440p, I think. That's fine. Yeah, so this was a pretty nice shot, and 83 mph. So definitely one small thing that you can do is try focusing a little bit more on the height first, and then start going left and right. Because I feel like the ball is a little bit too much in the middle of your screen when you're going up for it. Like, it just has to be like slightly to the left of your car when you're building the height, and then it has to be able to still go to the right side of your screen. Close. Yeah, so still Fox just has the right idea. He's definitely able to put a lot of these shots on targets. So that's good. I shall go to... We'll give Unfleek a watch. How good is your fast aerials, Unfleek?
Probably could be better. I'm doing them. I jump, boost jump.
Yeah. Yeah, so one thing that you want to probably do for your fast aerial is hold down on your stick before you jump. That's going to give you more consistency on the tilt back.
Okay.
It's looking pretty decent. Yeah. So you see that the issue that you're going to keep encountering is that you're good at keeping the ball in the middle of your screen, which is by all means fine for some shots. But for this specific shot, if you're going to try to attack it as early as possible, when you keep it on the middle of your screen, you're probably going to hit the backboard very often. So it's important to like have it where the ball's slightly to the left of your car, and then it gradually goes to the right, and that's when you know that you have the read.
I had a 12 o'clock phone call. What training pack are you guys currently on, if you don't mind me asking?
We're on 50 redirects or whatever it's called. It's the one that I've sent you before.
Oh, cool. Advanced redirects.
Yeah, we're working on the one of the hardest shots in the pack, which is shot 8.
Shot 8.
Yeah. Yeah, it's looking better. So also in terms of, I guess recovery is not the correct word, but what you're going to get a lot of success with, Fleek, is if you set up your directional air roll in such a way where you can control how you're going to touch the ball by just pressing up and down on your stick, so that you can extend your car towards the ball. I think where if you spin as much as you are for going for the touch on the ball, it's going to be very difficult for you to really refine how you're going to touch it. Because one of the cool things that you can do is where if you're doing an aerial, that you only have to press left and right to choose how much you're going to elongate your hitbox, or also up and down where you choose how you're going to angle the nose for the shot. We'll go check Resilient stream. Hopefully your hands are warm. This is
No, not at all, but it's okay.
We're on shot 8.
Shot 8. Oh, man.
Yeah, this one is very hard. Yeah. Yeah, so we'll just run a few more of these, and we'll do one last question round, and then I think we can call it a day.
I finally hit one way when you left.
Oh, gonna have to gif your game it or I won't believe it.
Clip it.
Yeah, so this is and if we're talking about refining the inputs, Brazilian, you're gonna get most of your forward speed should come from the ground that you're generating. So it's gonna be a bit of a tricky one to refine, but a lot of the forward speed that you're doing is on the ground, and then almost everything in your aerial at the start is gonna be purely vertical. It's gonna be maybe slightly angled where you can still track the ball, but most of it's almost gonna be entirely height based because we do want to get above this ball, so that we can start boosting downwards to send it towards the net.
I see.
Yeah, and you're feathering it too much. Like you want to probably start feathering when you're close to the same, let's say, vertical plane as the ball. Like that's when you actually want to start feathering because you want to the momentum of when you let go of the boost should take you above the ball, and then that will give you the wiggle room to start boosting downwards. Yeah, like that, almost like that.
Shift your game. I did it again. There you go.
All right, post it in the chat. Make me proud.
Okay.
So Mike, when starting off with this, would you, if you had to pick accuracy or power, which one would you start off first with?
I mean, honestly, if you can place this consistently towards top left or top right, I'll probably sign you for my RLCS team. So,
gotcha.
The thing that so you remember what I prefaced with at the start of the training pack where I said that even with a ball where you're just tracking it by keeping it on the middle of your screen, you're still going to get a really powerful shot. That's one thing I wanted to I preface with because I don't want people to get baited into thinking that it's a really good shot because the ball is doing all the work for you. And that's why like making sure that you create this buffer where you can start flying with or towards the ball is really important. Because the difference between 120 kph and 150 kph is that one of them is savable and the other one is probably unsavable. Like I don't know how many people here watch RLCS, but Garrett G got this one redirect at LAN, I think it was, and it was just an absolute laser. I think in the cam it was like 150 kph, but that was just the difference where the shot literally became unsavable. Yeah. So Resilient is getting really close. So I think that what you might have to do for your shots is start building the forward speed a little bit earlier than you're doing it in your normal times. So
like coming from more of the side.
No. So what I mean is that so I told you to build a lot of verticality at the start of your aerial. So maybe like halfway through your aerial, you start tweaking it where you're going to fly slightly more diagonally.
I see.
So let's say the starting aerial is maybe between a bearing of 0 and 10. Maybe you should start adjusting to 20, 30, like when you're getting closer to the ceiling. Yeah, you're feathering too much. You have to be full boosting throughout most of the aerial. And you see, that's the difference in height. And now you see that angle where you can actually snipe it downwards.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah. So you're still going to do the exact same thing with the full boosting, but you're just going to slightly tweak your angle where you start building the forward speed. Because I think the issue that you're having is that you're slightly undershooting the ball. So you're not building enough forward speed later in the aerial.
I just backflip 3 times in a row.
All right. We're just going to verify. You didn't post it in chat.
It was still loading.
Enter
app. Save. Copy link. I'll just download it.
We'll look at DJ Cornut quickly, Skitch, and I think we'll call it a day.
I'm the one having the trouble. Why is my I want to do these shots, but my shot 8 is completely off, and I don't see what's causing it.
Custom training. At the full screen, this I think.
See how it's low?
Yeah, press F2 again, and go to the custom training tab.
Taken Frizzy Bank Toad.
What is this? Maybe it's up on your D-pad. Use free play map for custom training.
Do you have the right pack, DJ?
I mean, I put the one from the chat in there.
We're using the.
Wait, this.
Everyone I downloaded, I seen the same shots as you guys. It was just a different height. Like this is that shot. It's just.
There.
Maybe press. What is it? If you look at the top left, what is it to mirror shuffle the playlist? Or
I think it's up for me.
Yeah, shuffle shots.
Yeah,
Oh,
maybe
shuffle.
that's it.
Well, now it goes just randomly through.
You have variants on, maybe.
What's that?
Do you have variants on Bacchusman?
No, that's what I was just. Hold on. Here's 8. And then if I hit F2 under free play, that was the first thing I checked was this enable custom training variants. I turned off.
You need to restart maybe if you had it on before. Maybe you need to restart your game.
Yeah, just try restart training. See if that helps.
I don't want to hold you guys up, but I'll try it real quick.
Oh,
it's
I
this
see what you're saying.
F879.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm gonna send you mine too because I just made it. 1 out of 20 times.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, is it because I didn't restart after changing that option?
Probably. Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. Thank you so much.
All right, we'll still give you a look, and then we'll call it a day.
I'm not good at this.
My clip's in there now, so you can judge me.
All right. I appreciate that you want my validation.
Everybody does.
Yeah. So I think one thing that you can definitely work on is the fast aerial component. That's going to be the thing that will give you the best ability to try to go for the shot. And the other thing... Oh, this looks a lot better. Well, you did just now. That looked a lot better. And yeah, you have to go more straight up. So you're going to have to let the ball come to you a little bit and not go too much towards the ball because you're going to make your life very miserable when you go for the ball too aggressively at the start.
For this shot that I'm on right now, you're talking about?
No, I'm talking to Corn Nut.
Oh, okay.
Fleek, your shot was perfect. No comment.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's see. Yeah, nice. That's a good tap in. And you see, right, that the ball was at the left side of your screen, and then it gradually moved to the right. And then when you started tipping your nose, that's how you refined the shot. We can look at Vincent, and we'll call it a day. I think this shot might be a little bit above Cornut. So I think if you get the fast aerial down, it's going to be a bit easier. And then maybe you come back to the VOD, and then you can kind of see how I go for the shot.
We're looking at shot 8, but it's not 9.
Yeah, 8.
Sorry. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. You don't have to be mean to.
Yeah, so you definitely have to put a lot of work into your fast aerial because you're double jumping without tilting your car back.
Well, if I do, I flip.
And the other thing as well is that you have to let the ball cross over your car. So you're keeping the ball in the center of your screen for too long. It has to be like this gradual line where the ball transitions from the right to the left side of your screen. And then also really do delicate inputs when you're about to touch the ball. And try to think about how you're going to do them before you get close to the ball. Because like that just looked way cleaner, even though you hit the crossbar. But when you like do those really more refined inputs, it's way better to get precision. All right, so I think that this was also a pretty good shot to highlight how many people here need fast aerial training. And fast aerials are not that difficult. They just require muscle memory and also, how would you call it, like technical consistency where you don't backflip. But yeah, the best tip that most people will probably give for the fast aerial is that you hold down before you press your jump, and then you figure out the pulsing rhythm that you need for the double jump timing. Because it's not that you just press double jump instantly, is that you do bum bum or something like that. Maybe a bit slower even.
There's a really good fast aerial training pack I can try to find where you won't like touch the balls like that are in that pack unless you fast aerial properly.
I think I might know which one you're talking about. Are they the ones where it's stationary, the ball? Or am I thinking of the wrong one? I think it was like one from Verge or something like that.
Yeah,
he just
there's
has
one
these...
from Verge that I know that's perfect. think that's the one Ninshu might be looking up. Like, you can't get to the ball until the timer runs out if you don't do it right.
Yeah. Sounds about right. I mean, if you can corroborate that, Ninshu, that'd be good.
All right, Mike.
Yeah.
We're coming
All
up
right,
to the half
so
hour, let's,
we got 2.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up. I think it's a pretty good place to end. Definitely want to thank everyone for joining. I'm really surprised that we had this great of a turnout.
Yeah.
And
Appreciate you
what
taking
else?
the time to do that, Mike.
Yeah, thank you.
So, let's stop here.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. And Skitch.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, like I said, if you guys, if anybody here who's either just on the Twitch stream or just joined the Discord recently, feel free to hit up Mike for some one-on-one lessons. We have some other coaches that do, more positional stuff if you want as well. Not saying Mike's not good at that too, but if you're looking for advanced mechanics, he can definitely help you with that. His Twitch is @LurkerRL, and he does casting for our weekly European tournaments. So please drop and give him a follow. And if you are not in the Discord and just on Twitch, you can exclamation Discord for the link. We have a Twitter, we have a Patreon, we have a YouTube, and this will be this replay will be available on the Twitch for 2 weeks, and then we'll put it up to the YouTube. And there's also on the YouTube there's the Diamond Champ class that Mike did about a month ago. So you can we have the YouTube link in the support the server channel on the Discord, so you can find that there if you want. I know there's some lower ranked people in here who are just kind of getting some good tips, but if you want to go back and watch the Diamond to Champ one, that there might be some more drills relevant to your level and helping you rank up there. So that's all I have to say. Mike, you got any last words? Or anyone else have any final words?
I was going to say the pack from Verge is the correct one. I'm going to link the code in the chat of this channel.
Okay, appreciate it, Nishu. Thanks. All right. If nothing else, thanks again, everyone. Thanks again, Mike, for hosting these. Maybe we can do some more advanced mechanics or whatever you come up with, and we'll keep this series kind of going.
Yep, definitely like it.
All right. Thanks for being part of the server, everybody.
I did it, Mike.
Appreciate all your participation. Everybody have a great rest of the Sunday, yeah?
You too.
Now, how do I turn this damn thing off? Goddamn technology. Here we go.
Have you tried turning it on and off again?
Yeah, that's not what I'm about to do.
Unplug it.